to another edition of The Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I'm Andre Guy Reed. Hey, you got Q here. And for the next hour, let's forget about the black man. Let's forget about the white man. Let's deal with the human from a Bible perspective, if you will. Feel free to call in at 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. For the comments, suggestions, agreements, or even disagreements we may have. We agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, the Truth Radio Show brought to you by the Truth Radio Network. We deal with everything from sex, race, religion, politics, and even sometimes sports. Now listen, lady, from a Bible perspective. Oh, yeah. I'm a pastor that believes that whatever you preach should be coming from the Bible. Amen. Whatever you live should be lining up with the Bible. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not lining up with the Bible, then it's Luciferian, satanic, evil. Let's start out with a prayer. Father God, I thank you and I pray for the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Lord, I ask that you strengthen him and give this man the courage to stand on your word and bring this country back to you. Just as Jesus faced the Pharisees and Sadducees, let President Trump face the forces of evil that are trying to remove you out of this country and implement demonic laws that are against your word and will bring upon your wrath. We ask that as American citizens that we support this man and that we carry out the things that he is passing in law that line up with your word. In Jesus' name we thank you now. Amen. 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 Thank God for Donald J. Trump. Okay, they still playing the same little dog whistle games, Q. They still playing what? The same little dog whistle games. Oh, come on now. Yeah, you know, white supremacists, he racist, he liar, he paying no attention to nothing being done, you know, in the process of them playing these impeachment games. Mm-hmm. I smiled, I said, Lord, look how Trump pulled it off. Ain't nobody paying no attention to him. They didn't shut the government down this time. Oh, no. They passed the budget. And in that budget, Donald Trump got his funding for his Space Force. Donald Trump got his funding for the wall. Donald Trump got his funding for defunding Planned Parenthood. Donald Trump got his funding for HBCUs. You know what HBCU is, Q? Historical Black College. Historical Black College and University. This man that they claim to be a racist just locked in $225 million guaranteed every year, specifically earmarked for historically black colleges and universities. He's going to lose his racist card. Mm-hmm. But you got these black politicians.
George Washington in his farewell address to the nation.
Council of this guy, Hakeem Jeffries. Now he's been associating that if you don't impeach Donald Trump, you're putting people black in slavery. Let me play this for you.
America, that the Constitution is sacredly obligatory upon all. It is in that spirit that we proceed today. The impeachment of a president is a solemn responsibility that we undertake prayerfully. Scripture says in the book of Psalms, "For the Lord loves justice and will not abandon his faithful ones." We undertake this responsibility prayerfully. We do not take this step to divide. Though some will cynically argue that the impeachment of this president will further divide an already fractured union. But there is a difference between division and clarification. Slavery once divided the nation, but emancipators rose up to clarify that all men are created equally. Suffrage once divided the nation, but women rose up to clarify that all voices must be heard in our democracy. Jim Crow once divided the nation, but civil rights champions rose up to clarify that all are entitled to equal protection under the law. We do not take this step to divide. And at this moment, this committee can rise up to clarify that under the Constitution here in America, no one is above the law. There are some who have asked, why should it matter that Donald Trump pressured a foreign government to target an American citizen for political gain and at the same time withheld without justification $391 million in military aid from a vulnerable Ukraine that remains at war with Russian-backed separatists in the East? Why should it matter? Perhaps Ronald Reagan posited the best answer when he delivered a speech at the foot of the Berlin Wall in 1987 and stated, East and West do not mistrust each other because we are armed. We are armed because we mistrust each other. And our differences are not about weapons, but about liberty. That is at the heart of the Trump-Ukraine scandal. Liberty, national security, abuse of power. America is the leader of the free world. We play that role because it is in the best interest of the national security of the United States. We play that role because we believe in liberty and justice for all. We play that role because freedom is in our DNA. Freedom from oppression, freedom from tyranny, freedom from abuse of power. Freedom is in our DNA. What role should this committee play in defending freedom? The House is a separate and co-equal branch of government. We don't work for this president or any president. We work for the...
Yeah, it's in the call, too. I had enough of him anyway. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I had enough of you.
I had enough of him. That was just sickening.
Who you on the same page? You and Nancy Pelosi on the same page. I think that's
President
so
Trump
nice.
today.
You pray for the president. That is so nice.
You said she what?
You and Nancy Pelosi are on the same page. You both pray for the president.
Now she did say she prayed for the president, and I can't
Yeah,
say that she didn't.
I just heard you.
I did. Did you pray along with me?
Not for this president.
But the Bible said pray for all presidents.
Well, let me tell you something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You good at that.
I mean, does the Bible not say pray for those that are in leadership of you?
Sir, you cannot tell me two different things that say both of them are right when they're totally different.
What two different things?
Okay? Well, now we said the Bible said pray for the president.
All of them, yeah.
I would say it said pray for those in leadership. Right? But then again, you turn right around from the same book of James and stuff and everything, and you will tell me that the Bible said don't even associate with these harlots, whatever words you use. So don't even associate with them. Don't break bread with them. Okay?
You talking about the don't fellowship with somebody who says that they're a believer, but they live a life of whorishness and cussing and you talking about 1 Corinthians 5:16?
You can't tell me two different things and then tell me one that came from the same book.
Let me ask you something. How long have you been suffering with that?
How long have I? Sister, did I met you?
That hearing problem
I
that you
didn't
got?
even think about it until I met you.
Sir, I don't hang out with Donald Trump.
Oh, whoa.
I don't even know Donald Trump.
For it. Okay?
Oh, yes.
In the Bible, in King James,
I pray for Barack Obama, and I strongly feel that he was passing damnable laws. Was that okay?
The King James Version told you don't need to break bread with this Hurley.
That's talking about fellowship, sir. And then anyway, I don't see what this man is living out a godly life. You're the one to get on these airways, tell me about you climbing a telegram pole, look around the city, who you can find at the test drive.
So dying some self is not of God, is it?
Dying from who?
Self.
Dying from
Come on,
self.
man, it's a religious show. You used to be something like a pimp like I was and stuff and everything. You know what I'm talking about.
You mean
Paying
dying from self?
$160 a watt. Come on, man.
Oh, because he patronized a prostitute?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know. Like everybody that used to be something like a pimp like myself. Catch on.
I mean, he has an iniquity. I pray that him and God makes him in with that. Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one there. Well, why didn't you throw that in your little prayer when you just gave it?
Because he's not governing the nation based on his personal habits. He's governing the nation based on the laws that he passed. Okay. At the end of the day, other guy, when the dust and the smoke clear, if y'all get rid of Donald Trump, it still ain't gonna change the fact that y'all are voting for people that are passing laws that go against God.
That's the guy. It
ain't gonna change that.
That's the guy.
At that moment, you become Luciferian.
Please hear me and hear me good. If you don't hear me any other time,
okay.
I don't want them to kick Donald Trump out of office.
Okay.
Until next year in November.
Okay.
That is for the people to do. I don't want no. I want him impeached tonight. I'm throwing the party. You want to come? I want Mother Jones.
We be at Bible study.
Oh man, well, Mother Jones, let's tell Mother Jones who really wants to come to my party.
How do you feel about
7 o'clock when we impeach this joker tonight? How do you feel about what Donald Trump? I do not want them to kick him out of office. Okay. That comes November next year.
You voted now. I have no problem with that.
That is the choice for the people. That's not a choice. But now
let me ask you. But when that time comes, let's say they do vote him out of office, I still go back to what I said. So you're happy that some people get elected that are passing laws that go against God?
Well,
that ain't gonna
all
change.
I know is I'm going to be happy tonight at about 7 o'clock.
What about happy when the Democrats take office and they can change these laws to go against God? You gonna be happy?
Then I'll pray for them.
Oh, you gonna pray? You gonna vote for them, then pray for them? I'm
going to vote for them, then I'm going to pray for them. Because some of them jokers out there, you know this, killing little babies and letting me heal and deal with marriage. You know that ain't right.
But you voting for them to make that the law?
Well, that's not why I'm voting for them.
Whether it's why you voted for them, whether it's why you voted for them or not.
I got to get off my phone.
Bye. Bring that God to the party. Whether that's why you voting for them or not, at the end of the day, that's what you voting for. For these people to come into these schools and teach these little children at 4 and 5, 6 years old that homosexual lifestyle and even teach them how to do it, that's what you're voting for. When you get to about, I hate Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is a liar, and Donald Trump is a racist, and at the end of the day, when you go and vote for these people, and poor black people, Q, they still stuck in this thing where, I need a black politician to represent me because I'm black. They ain't helping you. That dude, Hakeem Jeffries and Al Green, all they doing is doing it like a mule with a carrot in front of his head, throwing dog whistles at you. That's why that's it. They heard you. Lock the door, Q. They're going to take some bananas in here. Lock the door. Lock that door. It's in here now.
Man, it don't make... Excuse me. I guess... I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. What have they done? I'm not a Memphian, but y'all had a black mayor for how long?
Over 2 decades. More than 1 year, too.
Okay. And what I remember y'all had, Memphis was the distribution capital of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Everything came to Memphis.
At one point, Memphis was projected to be scales ahead of Nashville and Atlanta. We see that didn't happen.
What happened?
We became tops in crime. We became tops in poverty. We became tops in lack of education. But we had a black mayor. Matter of fact, not just Memphis. All across the United States, you don't have any conservative black politicians. You got, when I said not none, I mean on the percentage, right? Tim Scott is the only black Republican I can think of in the Congress of the Senate. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to if a black person gets up and says he's a Republican, they say he's traded on his race. I tell you what, let me just play the statistics about black and power, how we have black vote.
Thank you.
Twice. Conventional wisdom was adjusted. Since 1965, the number of black elected officials has exploded. Between 1970 and 2012, it grew from fewer than 1,500 to more than 10,000. And oh yes, a black man was elected president. Twice. Conventional wisdom would suggest that all these political gains would lead to economic gains, but that has not proven to be the case. In fact, during an era of growing black political influence, blacks as a group progressed at a slower rate than whites, and the black poor actually lost ground. Why was the conventional wisdom wrong? Because it was based on the incorrect assumption that politics was the pathway to black progress. Only black politicians, so the thinking went, could properly understand and address the challenges facing black Americans. It wasn't stable families, hard work, or education that would lift blacks into the middle class. It was more black city councilmen, congressmen, and senators. But the evidence, even according to liberal social scientists like Gary Orfield, indicates that there may be little relationship between the success of black leaders and the opportunities of typical black families. So while black politicians from Tom Bradley and Marion Barry to Max...
You told me pause for the call. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Pastor Guy, how you doing?
Hey, Unforgettable. How you doing?
Man, I'm kind of a little upset here on this end.
Okay.
Because, this politics stuff is about to run me crazy. You know, I don't understand why people in the Democratic Party would do something like this, man. Here it is, 10 months before the election of next president, and they can't wait, man, and they got to throw all this impeachment stuff up in our face. I mean, it's just like saying the people that vote for people don't mean nothing.
That's what they say.
You know, that we up in this house, Congress, and we get the last word and all this kind of stuff. If you
give us any kind of power, we don't care who you vote for, we're going to take them out of office. That's what they say.
And that's what is going to happen, Pastor Guy.
No, he's not leaving office. Impeachment is only a procedure.
Yeah,
once they get through the procedure, and they don't really, Donald Trump going to get reelected again.
I know they're going to put a mark on this record of presidency. I understand.
He already eliminated that. With that 6-page letter that he sent to Pelosi yesterday, throughout the annals of history, when they read that, then they go back in history and look at this thing and see not one Republican voted for this thing. As a matter of fact, some Democrats voted against it. What it's going to show is that some people tried to unseat a duly elected president. That's called treason. That's called mutiny.
And people
should be going to jail.
You know something, Pastor Guy, you're right. You know, if I can understand there were like maybe 5 or 6 Republicans over there that go along with what the Democrats is doing, I can understand. But go between party land.
All the Democrats ain't even going, but they know this is wrong, man. See, what people don't realize, when you start seeing Congress and people like that pushing it to where you got the FBI doing stuff undercover, where these folks are trying to undermine a duly elected president, they looking at it because it's Trump. What you need to look at is, just like they did it to them, they'll do it to you. You mess around and be the next Central Park 5.
Yep.
You have to be careful with that now.
Right. You know, what's so sad about it, you know, they did it. Now, next time when a Democrat president get in there, some go down, the Republicans do it. So it's going to be a merry-go-round, man. When are we going to stop this mess and let the people do what they do, man? We the government, we the people.
You know, Unforgettable, there's a saying that said, when the government, when people are afraid of the government, that's tyranny. When the government is afraid of the people, that's democracy. What is happening is government is not answering to the people anymore. This liberal ideology has made the decision, like they saying, we here, we're going to stay here, and we're going to force this down your throat where you want to know. You know the majority of people don't believe this same-sex marriage stuff is right, man.
And you're right, Pastor Guy.
And the majority of people don't believe killing each other like they do right. Yeah,
just like you say, just to go along to get along.
And they're not thinking about God. They don't care how God feel about it. That's what mystifies me.
Wow.
Like you think that you don't have to answer to God for supporting these people to do this stuff. But I promise you, you can choose your sin. You can't choose the consequences. And there is a God that we all going to answer to.
Well, Pastor Guy, I know these Democrats, they trying their best to brainwash a lot of us out here, but it ain't going to happen with me.
Because they got Pastor Guy out here telling the truth of the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Well, let me just say this so a lot of people don't get it twisted. It's a lot of things that I'm liberal on, you know. I believe in some of the things that Democrats, but this one is wrong, bro.
Amen.
This one is wrong. Thank you, Pastor Guy.
Merry Christmas and happy birthday to Jesus.
All right, thank you.
This is the King of Pop. King of Pop.
Yes, I'm right here, the KOP inflation.
I got some information on you yesterday that I did not know.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, somebody told me that said, that's the real king of pop. I said, what you mean the real king of pop? He's the one, man, he got some guitar, and he makes up songs. He used to call in on Kyle, and I said, I never heard of him. Do you have a guitar and you make up songs and all this?
No, sir. No.
Yeah, is
I'm
it a
not
piano?
that king of pop.
You're not that king of pop?
No, sir.
You can't do any singing?
Yes.
You can I hear a little bit?
Well, it'll have to be next time I call. It'll have to be next time.
Okay, I understand. Well, what's on your mind, king of pop?
Because, for one reason, because I've been sitting down eating my yogurt.
Eating your yogurt? Wait a minute. Yesterday,
eating yogurt.
Now, you was at Cozy Corner yesterday eating hen, weren't you?
Yes. I'm eating some leftovers, too, as well.
Oh, okay. And
Let me explain to you and the listening audience how we got to this point with Donald Trump.
Explain it to me, sir.
I want you people to listen well. Mr. Trump does not have a personality. Mr. Trump lacks sympathy and empathy for people. He's made remarks about disability people. He talks under women's clothes. He says bad things about other men's wives. He doesn't seem to have it. He really doesn't seem to really care. Like Nancy Pelosi said, he's just not presidential.
But
he doesn't even look like he just don't even look like he's the president. He don't even look like.
Is he doing a good job?
I don't know what he's doing. Even when he go overseas, they're laughing at him behind his back. The other countries are laughing at us.
Now, why they laughing?
And they don't take him serious.
If they don't, then why did Kim Jong-un stop shooting those bombs?
I don't know.
If they don't, why did China finally give in to this terror war?
I'm telling you,
if they don't,
I'm just going to hang up and listen, but
okay.
He needs prayer.
I just prayed for him.
He needs a personality.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. We got another caller. It's spinning better. This is going to be interesting. Good. You said I'm through. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
I am the most erudite mind, great thinker, and political philosopher.
Happy birthday to Jesus. Hey, Black, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I was under the weather about 4 days there, and every time I try to call you all, I try to watch the clock between my inspections, and then I come back and like, boom, it's 2:59
Yeah, last time you called about 2 minutes ago. Well, you got in today. How you like that budget that our president passed?
I haven't heard about it.
He got his money for the wall. He got the money for Space Force. And then, as a matter of fact, he got $225 million guaranteed every year, specifically earmarked for historical black colleges and universities. He gonna lose his racist card, Black. How can a racist do that? He gonna lose his racist card.
Well, they're trying to cover it up by this fake impeachment.
Yep.
Crap. But you had the last call that got out, the black call that got out.
King of Pop, that King of Pop.
Yeah, King of Pop, another loser.
Wait, hold on. Mother Johnson to take
Message from D. Delores Jones' mother. King of Pop is wrong. As two left shoes.
She agreed with you. She said King of Pop is wrong. You know, Black, all jokes aside, and this is for the believers out there, for church folks. Y'all coming up against this man. And we already know God allowed him to be president, that God has, but God has anointed this man. This man is standing up publicly, saying that he's standing up for the rights of the church, that he's putting God back in the foundation of this country, that these damnable laws that these people have passed with this Luciferian worship, that he's going to do everything he can. When he said clean the swamp, he means clean the swamp of all of those imps that Satan have been planted within this country to destroy God, take God out of this country. And people that proclaim to be believers, not only do they hate this man, not only do they try to get this man out of office, but they're sitting around promoting these people that are passing laws that they telling you that they're coming directly against God. And these people to support him, and they have the nerve and audacity to run the church every week and holler about they listen to some preacher teaching them how to be a believer. A believer in what?
It's truth of the matter, you had Barack Obama now, the first black president. He didn't do anything for the black community. Unemployment was still at an all-time high. more blacks is on food stamps and welfare. So the thing is that this is just evil, right out evil.
Right out evil. It got nothing to do with Trump. It's got something to do with God.
I think it just has to do with that this man, like you say, has been foreordained by God for this hour. They thought Trump was going to come in. They thought he wasn't going to be able to do the job. This man gets in every day. He's probably one of the hardest working.
This man more presidential than the president I've seen in my lifetime.
He's very presidential, but they've been coming at this man for the last 3 months, coming at his family, attacking his kids. This stuff got to stop.
That's why we got to pray for this man straight, man. What these people are doing is setting the president to overthrow with liberalism. They're basically saying, I don't care who you elect as a conservative, even who you elect as a moderate, we're going to shove these demonic laws down your throat, and we're going to make this the fabric of society. Your children are 3, 4, 5 years old, going to school, learning how to suck a penis, or put it up in your child's rectum. Man, that's wrong. That's evil.
You know, Democrats' policies are destructive. They want open borders. They want to give a driver license over there in New York. They was chanted in New Jersey last night about giving driver license to illegal immigrants.
They give them driver license. They give them in the food stamp thing. Now they can play the 700,000 people that they taking off food stamp. They're not listening to what they're saying. I work for the Department of Human Services. Mm-hmm. What he's saying is called a thing called able-bodied person. What that means is that this person is not disabled. This person is not a senior citizen. This person is not making income where his income is so low he needs food stamps. This is a person that is receiving food stamps or receiving, in the case like places like Detroit, even welfare, and that person is able to take on a job, but instead they're just letting the government just take care of it. My Bible read, last time I checked, if a man don't work, he don't eat.
Right, and the Bible says that laziness leads to
slothfulness. That's a sin. Right, that's a sin.
It's akin to poverty. If you're lazy and don't want to work, poverty is going to be your cousin, your next cousin.
It's called slothfulness. You become a human slug.
Yeah, that's why the Bible says you need to consider the ant. Consider the ant, how they harvest the water in
but is anything that this man does, just like Hakeem Jeffries, now he's up there saying that if you don't impeach this man, then you basically bringing back slavery and Jim Crow and suffrage. These dogs, Al Green, he's up there talking about, we got to impeach him, in order to atone for the original sin of slavery. And all these black politicians keep playing these black folks just like Tarzan in the movie, and they love it.
Today it's a sad day. I see these politicians on TV get their 2 minutes of fame, and this man can't be all of this.
And what's sad is you have no black Republicans. That means in the black culture in America, we have no blacks out there. I don't try to think of Tim Scott. We have no blacks, basically, that are standing up for God. Because that's what this is about.
Wow, this is scary, man. And I hope they see that this is going, I even heard a gay person on one of your sister shows. Homosexual, yeah. Caught into the Glenn Beck show. Didn't even vote for Trump, saying how bad this was and that, they're not going to vote. Democrats are losing voters off of this. And they may gain some. But the thing, man, this is not good for the country. This is bad, but we knew it was coming.
Yeah. The Bible even talked about it. The Bible even speaks of a great falling away from the church. Without those in the church that's going to embrace this damnable doctrine, and it's happening.
Yeah, their policies are destructive. These people pushing, you said all the time, killing babies even at the last month trimester.
No, they do it when the baby's born. Infanticide, that baby's born.
Do your colleagues even understand the impact of that?
They don't care. They don't care. I can't say about all my colleagues, but those that come in conflict, they don't care. And when I bring up the fact, what about God? Man, we ain't been discussing about God. I'm talking about Trump.
And I hear them keep talking about this president asked Ukraine president to bribe to help him beat Joe Biden and steal the 2020 election. Why would Trump need Joe Biden?
Can't even spell Ukraine. It's just like when they came up with that stuff, collusion. They had never heard that word in the first place. At first they thought it was something you did at the fair. Now all of a sudden they're about collusion.
Think about
it's crazy, man.
first of all, and I go, think about it. They accuse this president and his administration, campaign rather, colluding with Russia and conspiring to pull up dirt on Hillary to win the 2016 election. Now they claim Trump trying to get Ukraine president that he don't even know.
They take Ukraine, that girl to stay down on Davis Street. Man, I got to move on, man. I got to go to the next call. Bye, man. They think colluding is her cousin. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Pastor Guy? What's up, Q?
Hello, RC. How are you doing?
What's going on, RC?
RC.
Hey, what's up? Hey, let me address black conservatives.
Hold on, let me ask one question before you do.
Okay.
What do you think about the president earmarking $225 million every year, guaranteed no matter what, specifically for historical black colleges and universities? Is that something that a racist would do?
No, that's like I always say, because I'm independent. If you're right, you're right, Pastor. And I don't disagree with a lot of things that Donald Trump do, but a lot of things he does, I disagree with. I'm not totally against Donald Trump.
Okay.
And that's a great thing that he's doing, earmarking the black historical college.
Now go ahead.
That's one of the good things he's doing.
Okay, now go ahead and address black
conservatives. But we don't take away the bad things that he's doing also. Okay, now let me address black conservatives. Like his black ancestors in Africa says that there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can't do you no harm. There was that code. There was that enemy coming out of him, Pastor Guy.
The enemy coming out of him?
Just a little sense today.
What you mean the enemy coming out of him? What you mean?
He was sick.
When he was sick, there was that enemy coming out of him. That's why he made a little sense today.
Tell me something. Let me ask you a question.
Let's talk about these black Republicans.
Okay, if I ask you what kind of man you think black conservative is, how would you describe him?
I just told you, Pastor Guy. The enemy within him that's fighting in him, Pastor Guy, got him saying and thinking the way he thinks.
How does he think?
Because he only targets a certain group. You know that just as well as I do.
Oh, okay. You said all he does is belittle black people?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, go ahead. You said something about black. You said something about black Republican. What
okay, now you mentioned Tim Scott out of South Carolina. I like Tim Scott.
I do too.
I like Tim Scott, and not only Tim Scott, I like the former black woman who was out there in Utah. Now she spoke truth when she was voted out of office. She spoke truth.
Let me ask you this, RC. Why is it that blacks don't have any Republicans?
What'd you say now?
Why is it blacks don't have any Republicans, man?
Like I said, Pastor Guy, hey, I don't know, Pastor Guy. I can't say why they don't have any Republicans, but I can tell you the ones that I do see fighting against when it comes to racial issues and things like that.
I can't think about but maybe 5 black Republicans in my lifetime.
Tim Scott is number one.
Yeah, Tim Scott, he had a guy, I'm trying to think the guy from Oklahoma. I used to like him too. I think his name was Washington. Yeah, I can think about maybe 5 black Republicans elected in my lifetime to the Congress and the Senate. Mm-hmm. Some right there should tell black folks something wrong with that. And these black Democrats that they elect, they go up there. I see, you know, and I know that the majority of black folks don't believe in this homosexual marriage. Exactly. But every black politician they got up there is up there promoting it. You know and I know that the majority of black folks don't believe in killing these babies. But every black politician they got up there go there promote that. Why is that?
I think they coattailing, Pastor Guy. They kind of like you always say. A lot of times they try to put the homosexual group in with the civil rights group.
And that's not right.
So instead of we fighting for just this side, we fighting for all sides.
So why do we keep letting them do that to us?
Well, I can't speak for other black people, Pastor Guy, but let's deal with these black Republicans, the ones that I like, Pastor Guy. And I always tell people, if it was a choice to pick between Barack Obama and someone like General Colin Powell, hands down, I would have voted for someone like Colin Powell because I know he was more qualified and he was more conservative in his thinking.
Okay.
There's a lot of other conservatives.
I see. You keep on. You gonna mess around being conservative. You just keep on talking to me.
Like I said, I'm independent. I can go either way. The truth is the truth.
RC.
Yeah.
Okay. You got black on the other end. He said he got something to say to you. Do you want to hear it or you want to just keep on going?
But I want to keep on going.
No. Hold about I ain't gonna cut you off. We're gonna put you on hold. Let's see what he's saying. Then we're gonna bring you back in. I'm giving you your shot back.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
First of all, let me tell you a little black chocolate coconut cream something. Number one, you black folks out there, y'all don't own me. Y'all don't own no slaves. Your mama and your dad ain't never owned slaves. Your granddaddy didn't own slaves. And ain't none of y'all from Africa. You're all from around the South somewhere here. I'm a black person. I say anything I want to say back to you Negroes any day of the time. It don't make me no different. First of all, I ain't calling in and said nothing about you.
Are you imitating Donald Trump?
No. Well, first of all, Pastor Guy, I ain't said nothing to call in and talk about black folks in a long time. So you look like he ought to be glad I ain't said nothing about you, little loser.
Because you've been sick, you ain't been calling me.
Yeah, but y'all go ahead on and vote for these homosexuals. Because Booty Edge here is going to be your next Democrat.
Booty Head.
Candidate, y'all going to be voting for that little punk sister. So I don't care what you say.
Pastor.
I don't care what RC said. And you said one thing that was important. Them black politicians up there, they ain't no black leaders. They get it off. They just black politicians pimping you black folks.
Black folks are the only people that call their elected official leaders.
Right.
And now, hey, Black, can I say something? Now, you right about that. They go up there to make millions of dollars off of you and don't give you nothing.
Yeah,
don't do nothing for you.
Look at that black fool that died a couple months ago, Joe Lewis. That little black fool that got drugged a country mile. They should have drugged that black fool 10 miles.
Who was talking about?
Crazy as it is. But,
Joe Lewis.
Not the one that just passed of the
one that was on the district in Baltimore, that rat hole.
Elijah Collins.
Yeah, they should have drugged that little black fool 20
Shut up,
miles.
man. They don't no disrespect the man. The dead.
Now they fighting over his money now because that black fool got rich. But let me just say this.
Well, you know, his wife already is on the indictment for stealing millions of dollars from that 501c3 she got, so they got money.
Yeah, they get rich off of black folks' stupidity. And
I gotta let you go though, Blacko. We got RC waiting to respond to what you had to say.
Well, all I want to say to him, look, if he want to go toe to toe with me, I'd be glad to come in there and go toe to toe with you and pay for it, clown.
Black, you ain't that tall now.
I pay for it. I bring a little $50.
All right, RC, what did you say, sir?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with the Apostle Paul says. He said, meditate and think positive things and practice those things.
Watch out, RC. You did better than the pastor.
Say it again.
You did better than the pastor. He called you all kind of Negroes and coons, and you came back with scripture. I'm impressed.
Exactly, Pastor God. Like I said, it's the enemy within. And Pastor God, that's like I said, a lot of times I don't talk politics, Pastor God, but I know probably way more than black conservatives will ever know about politics. Okay? And like I said, the Apostle Paul pretty much saying, take the high road. That's something black conservatives lack, and that's something Donald Trump lack, is what I don't like in Donald Trump.
And a lot of people have a problem with Donald Trump personally. I promise you, I get that. And my thing is the overriding factor. At the end of the day, they politicians. I don't trust politicians. No. But now I do believe that God allowed this man to be in position because America's getting too far away from God. I see. They done got too far away from God. And somebody got to put the train back on track.
I think Donald Trump can do a lot, not just for black people, but just for America.
For Americans, period.
And we just try to give him a chance because, like I said, Donald Trump is the type of person that takes the low road. If you talk about me, I'm going to talk about you. And I think we're this
hold on. Light Brown sent you a message. Hold on.
Message from Light Brown. I'm proud of RC. He is smarter than people give him credit for.
Thank you, Light Brown. Thank you, Light Brown. But anyway.
Wait a minute, hold on. Black conservatives sent you one too.
Message from Black 4. Voting Democrats in power is taking the road to the sewage.
What's going on, man?
I vote independent.
Okay,
I vote independent on issues.
I got another call. Before they go, though, I'm going to give you the one-word test. I'm going to bring up a person's name, and in one word, you tell me what you think of them when I bring up that name. Okay, you ready? Ricky.
Oh, man, Ricky, just like this, Pastor God. Thinking without thinking is like shooting without aiming.
The other guy.
Other guy, that's my pops, man. Got a lot of common sense. Atlanta, I think Atlanta, a shy guy. He likes to piggyback on the things that he likes, you know what I'm saying, without saying what he really means. So therefore, he don't have an argument on the things he coming on.
Mother Jones
needs to stop flirting with my pop.
You already do that with Miss Master.
Oh, Miss Master. I hope she starts calling back more. I think she's a good woman.
Sir Neil.
Sir Neil, that's the guy, the black Israelite.
No. That's Judah. What you think about Judah?
Oh, well, I'm going to say Judah being Sir Neil. Judah lives in America, so therefore he has to coincide with white people. No matter what he feels or think about white people or what they was before and after history, he still have to deal with black and white people because they're part of America.
What you think, he racist?
No, I don't think he's racist, but the ideology of the black Israelites, thinking that white people are a certain way, they have to understand that the car they drive, you know what I'm saying, the service that they getting, the help that they getting, the rescues that they getting are from white people as well as black people. So therefore we have to coexist with each other, especially living in America.
Okay, I got one more thing, Hughes, I got to go.
May make a lot of sense, you know what I'm saying, on certain issues. I like certain issues.
Like Brown.
Like Brown. You know, Brown is N-word spelled backwards, right?
Brown is N-word spelled backwards?
Yeah.
No, man.
Yes, it is.
B-R-O-W-N.
N-word spelled backwards is Brown, Pastor.
B-R-O-W-N.
Pastor Guy.
N-W-O-R-B don't spell a word.
N-word.
Oh, it's N-word.
N-word is
it is N-word spelled backwards. It is N-word. N-word.
Exactly.
You ain't got enough to do, bye, man.
What's going on? Hey, hold on.
I just got that. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Doctor.
Hello?
Pastor Guy.
Yes, sir.
I said, what's going on, Doc?
How's it going? This Terry?
Yes.
Hey, Terry, what's going on with you?
Ain't much, man. Hey, listen here. I can't be long with you because Phil, my nephew, come and cut my hair. Did you just say earlier that Donald Trump passed a bill for $250 million for black historical colleges?
Yeah, what he did was, see, why they doing all this impeachment stuff?
Yep.
You know, the budget came up again, right? Remember last time, they shut down the government and all that, right?
Yeah.
So while they doing that, Trump got his budget passed. They signed it because they too busy. He got his money for his Space Force. He got his money for his wall. He got his money for. No, he defunded the money from Planned Parenthood, and he dedicated $225 million every year goes specifically to historical black colleges and universities. Can't nobody do nothing about it. This time it ain't executive order; it's law.
Okay, well then that might make me reconsider my thinking here. I might vote for him.
Okay.
I might consider voting for him, and I'm definitely going to spread that around to others here in Connecticut.
Well, make sure you let them know about the First Step Act. You know, he passed that prison reform too.
Yeah, I've been talking about that. Pastor Guy, who sang that song "Going Up to Yonder" last week that you played? I
don't know who that woman is, man. I still got. Who did she sing that song?
Man, I wish I could have been the musician behind that.
Man, she had me crying and shouting in the studio, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Amen. I got to play some more video. Love you, Terry. Stay blessed. Happy birthday to Jesus.
Oh, please go. Jesus ain't never. Man, go.
Was he born? Was he born?
I ain't gonna get into that.
Was Jesus born?
He was born, but he didn't say what date.
Okay, that might be. He born. I just pick a day to say happy birthday. It's okay.
Well, I tell you what I'm gonna do. Next July, I'm gonna call you and say happy birthday to Jesus.
I'm with that.
You with that?
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right, well then we all right then.
Man, shoot, I believe every day belong to God, Terry. I ain't playing.
Q, you know what I'm talking about? I like Q. I'm gonna tell you what I like Q for. Because even when Q is your boy, right, Pastor?
Yeah.
And even when you wrong, Q would say, you know what? Nah, Pastor, you wrong.
That's why we friends. I don't need no friend gonna let me run off no clip. I need a friend gonna tell me, no, hold up, Drake, pop your friend.
Man.
But that's why we friends.
Yeah, I like Q, man. He's all right with me.
I love him. That's my man.
All right, then.
All right, stay blessed, sir.
All right, take care now.
You got another call? Hello, call. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Pastor Guy.
Yes, sir. Hey, Corey.
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
All right. Happy Jesus' birthday.
Happy Jesus' birthday. Amen.
And to the Oakland Raiders as well as the Dallas Cowboys.
Tennessee Titans.
Also, you know, we did our president's going to give us federal workers 12 weeks of paid leave.
I forgot he gave him the 12 weeks of paid leave. He sure did.
Yes,
sure did.
Guys, I stayed at home yesterday and I watched this fan, man. You know, this ain't nothing but the O.J. Simpson trial again.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. O.J.
They using it for entertainment. The only problem is, though, the entertainment they looking at, the trial, they were looking at OJ. That's going to affect OJ's life. What these people are trying to do to the president, that's going to affect each one of our lives that they're not seeing that, Corey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Pastor, while you praying, I'm the listener of prayer for two young black men, man.
Okay.
They are getting ready to face John Campbell, the one that's still not through trying to get started on Quentin Kelly. The two young black men that get that comfortable down there, man. Sister, I pray that they have good lawyers that's going to have their case moved.
That's a very serious charge they dealing with, right? I promise it is.
About a good old boy network.
I know. In a capital murder, y'all killed a very beloved police officer. Yes. God, they're in a storm, man. They're in a storm.
Yeah, without a doubt. But we know who calms the storm. Who can say peace, be still, baby.
Amen.
Appreciate it. I will be talking back to you, for the holidays. So you go Jesus' birthday.
Merry Christmas, happy Jesus' birthday.
And you guys have a Tony the Tiger Day.
Amen.
And I got my ears on.
Yes, sir. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, how you doing there, Pastor Guy?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good. Hey, the individual you got screening your call, we're going to have to talk to him. What time y'all getting up out of there? I want to see that fella face to face.
They say he get a little rowdy sometimes. I've heard that before.
That man said this sound like that short man.
Yeah, that sounds like him. I've been knowing him a long time. Yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah.
But you know, ain't that a racist move for a white man to make sure that colleges, historical black colleges, with how much money?
$225 million guaranteed. That ain't talking about whatever they do with fundraising. This is guaranteed from the government every year, no matter what. This earmark for y'all.
And didn't he also pass a law that your children could go to school, and if you can
get a voucher, they can go to the same school that Barack Obama or Donald Trump's children go to. Yes, sir.
Didn't he do something to help people who were in jail get out?
It's called the First Step program. Yeah, First Step. Not only did they do First Step, but they're not telling you the Democrats are blocking him on Second Step. He doesn't just want to get them out of prison, but he wants to give companies incentives to hire them so that way they can make an income where they can buy their own houses and be self-sufficient people, so they won't go back to prison. They don't like to talk about that.
But that's racist, ain't it? I mean, to try to help black people get a leg up and get a house, and black people get out of jail, and
I don't think they call that racist.
Ain't that a racist move?
No, I don't think they call that racist. I think they call that jungle love.
Okay. So really, then, the only thing that many people dislike about Donald Trump is his personality.
Pretty much. That's it. And whatever else that MSNBC or CNN tell them, when you say Ukraine, I thought that was the girl that stayed up there at Hollywood and Chelsea. now all of a sudden, all black folks, they're experts on Ukraine and Russia and how we need to be able to help them and collusion. I thought that was that dude that used to play basketball down there at Guthrie Park.
So folks that understand this, I don't. Now me, I'm different, I guess. I just don't think it was America just getting away from their morals. I think it was the church that was doing it.
Speak.
I think it was the church.
Speak. I'm teaching on Bible study tonight.
So comfortable.
You know, it's funny you said that. The Bible study tonight is perverse generation. And one of the scriptures that I'm pointing out is 2 Thessalonians 2, where there has to be a great falling away from the church, where the church is promoting and preaching damnable doctrine, drawing people into the worship in the kingdom of Lucifer, and in the process they're abandoning and denying the word of God. Yes, sir. And you know something else? I was reading through the book of Acts, and when the church was persecuted, the church grew. So sometimes God might have to shake us up. Sometimes God got to shake you up. He really realize some things. He didn't get Paul's attention until he was on that road to Damascus. Now, my thing is this, though, Bishop. This is my thing. People, you would rather go looking for God. You don't want God to come looking for you. Hey, man, that is the truth. And, man, I sure thank you for your time, but I need to find out what time y'all leaving. I need to come in and talk to that big old fella, man. He got more business stuff too, and I'm already. And we got to move out. We got to move out the side. I'm going to remind him you were one of the instructors when we were doing martial arts at the church. You, short man, got something for you. No, that's the guy.
that don't mean nothing. That stuff look good inside that school, in the karate school. I got tennis shoes on. I run real.
You and Pastor Hawkins. I saw Pastor Hawkins show one of them young boys a move where he put a thumb on his neck and then another thumb in his side, and that boy that boy body contorted. I said, "Oh no, that's done gone." Stay blessed, my friend.
I love y'all, and you know what? Hey, y'all, I'm telling all these callers, y'all get off black conservatives. Y'all, sometimes we don't like the truth that black conservatives be putting out. I don't care how he said it.
Truth when it come out. Truth. Stay blessed, my friend. Yes, sir.
Yes, I love y'all.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Pastor Guy.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, I protect you, Q. I see them punches coming. I'll be blocking them like I'm Ahmed Ali.
Wait a minute, Ray.
But I be slowing them ribs, brother. I tell you, Pastor, you're having a good day today. I tell you, it's some good stuff. I like RC now. He's coming to his senses.
RC seems like he's coming around.
Yeah, he can come. You know what, RC? You can come work at my nursing home now that I got for black people that is $1.49 an hour. That I be paying people.
All right. Now, you know, we need to get RC to date the young lady that called in yesterday that was Donald Trump lies and he grabs women by their crouch, and maybe RC can love her into reality. You think that can happen?
Ooh, yeah.
She tell me
black woman.
Tell me, well, what kind of pastor you want to teach you the word?
An angry diary woman that Tyler Perry wrote?
The diary of a mad black woman.
Yeah, but she was mad.
Well, you know, if she was mad, then she hate the way I started the show off on when I prayed for Donald Trump. Those people that hate him, you don't know how pissed to the highs of festivity they are. And I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as God smiles, I'm happy. I have nothing to prove to anybody in life anymore but God.
And Pastor, I feel like my own black people is more prejudiced today than they was back in the Klan days.
They just don't know.
The way they treat me. I mean, I had to stop and pray for people. I had to pray for my parents. I had to pray for my cousins.
Yeah.
Because they will treat you bad. Mm-hmm. But when I was working and making these money, they knew what black conservatives to come to because me and my wife had it.
Well, that's the reality. That's the mentality of it, Ray. But at the end of the day, for God we live, for God we die. I got to catch this call, my friend.
I get you. I know them players.
Don't y'all get in the car with Ray, y'all. He's legally blind. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
I am not a caller. I am the caller.
Oh, the caller.
The caller.
Watch out. Shuck it, duck it.
Quack, quack.
Talk to me now. Now that's Chris.
No.
Oh, that's Chris.
Yeah.
So what about you? I ain't heard from you in a while.
That's why he said he the caller.
Oh, yeah, you the man. Okay, Guru, I got you. Chris, what do you think about all this mess we're dealing with, man? Can you be a racist and give $225 million to historical black colleges and universities?
I love that because I love it.
The same money that the black president did not give them?
See, but here's the thing. I agree that it's his personality, but I'm more in agreement that he's done more for the African American community than any president I know.
Why can't they see that?
Well, you got to think about it. The blind can't see, and if you have glaucoma, if you have any type of blindness, or if you're spiritually blind, or if you just want to be blind. And here's the thing: that man, no matter what he's going to do, is always going to be dealt a bad hand.
Now you know what, Chris? And I found out why.
Why is that?
Every time Donald Trump gets up and does a speech, I found out that liberals have been pumping information into black households. And you know what let me tell you what they've been pumping. If Donald Trump speaks right now, watch this, when I try to say something about Donald Trump, the liberals going to put something out. Donald Trump is a good man. Donald Trump just passed prison reform. Donald Trump is helping historically black colleges and universities. Donald Trump wants to give every uniform. But Donald Trump is helping y'all. Donald Trump. And they can't hear me.
And well, you got to think about it. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. But here's the thing. I am so glad that he's pumping $225 million into historical black colleges, because education is going to get us what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about. Then on top of that, when he's doing prison reform of people who may or may not need to be there for, well, we'll just say for petty crimes, and they get 20 to 25 years, we know that's unjust.
Not only that, with his prison reform, because there was some people complaining about some of those people did have violent records and stuff, and they got released, but it was explained that's because for the amount of time they did, number one, it's not worth it to the government to keep them locked up any longer, but let's take them and put them into rehab programs so that we can rehabilitate them so they can be members of society, because 80% of people, I think it's higher than that go to prison are going to get out one day. You do better to have a trained person that has a chance in life than release somebody who's been a cage animal.
You know what else I'm looking for him to do? Seriously?
What?
I am looking.
You gotta make it quick, too. We got 1 minute.
Okay, I'm looking for him to, once they get that done, to have some remedy or form of expungement.
They're already working on it. I gotta go, my friend.
Okay.
God bless. I love y'all, and once again, I pray for and I thank God for the President of the United States, and most importantly, I thank God for Jesus. Hey, got a good Bible study tonight at 6:30, 1561 Boxwood. We'll deal with the pervert generation. You might want to check it out. It'll show you a sign of the time. God bless. We love you. Go to AndreGuy.com. Click on Revelation Christian Center. Go to PayPal. Help us out.
And go to Revelation Christian Center House of Prayer YouTube channel to watch the sermon, or you want to watch the Bible study.
All of that.
You won't forget about them right there.
I do too. That's going down a roll. Tomorrow is not promised. It's wise to be prepared when it comes. Sheena Armstrong is the owner-operator of Insurance of Memphis, located at 3556 Hickory Hill Road. Sheena can prepare you today for what tomorrow may bring. I call it the one-stop shop.
You gotta like what the man doing.
Home.
I just don't like the way he do it.
Even renter's insurance. Call her at 901-303-8804.
Right, but don't go against God because he got a bad personality.
8804. She will get you the insurance you need to prepare you for the unexpected things that tomorrow may bring. Call her at 901-303-8804 or stop by 3556 Hickory Hill Road. Insurance of Memphis. That's what it's cheap.
No, I gotta put Alex on.
What the world needs now.
Hello to all of you that are being enlightened by the Truth Radio Show. The Truth is paid for by Revelation Christian Center, which is a small urban ministry with limited resources. In order for the truth to stay on the air, we need sponsors and advertisers to step up, or there will be no more Truth Radio Show. Revelation Christian Center is a non-profit organization, so your contributions are tax deductible. All your contributions and or your advertisements go directly to the Truth Radio Show, staying on the air. Please mail your support to Revelation Christian Center, 1561 Boxwood, Memphis, Tennessee, 38108. Or you may call Pastor Andre Guy Reed at 901-315-6018. That's 901-315-6018. Remember to tell your friends around the world to download the free TuneIn radio app to listen to the show anywhere. Thank you and have a blessed day.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
You have been listening to the Truth Radio Talk Show, brought to you by Revelation Christian Center. Revelation Christian Center is located at 1561 Boxwood, Memphis, Tennessee 38108. If you would like to sponsor or advertise on the Truth Radio Show, call Pastor Andre Guy Reed at 901-315-6018. Again, that's 901-315-6018 to help the truth keep spreading.
Big, not too little, and it's the Damascus steel, really high quality, very, very sharp, so look out, with a nice leather scabbard. Read all about it. There's a lot more that you'll find out at InfoWarsStore.com about the Bowie knife. And we've got this new t-shirt. Don't visit InfoWars.com. People love this shirt. It's got the woke Alex Jones, the laser beam eyes with the They Live sunglasses. Don't visit InfoWars. That way, if you're in a libtard area, you go, yeah, that filthy scumbag. And then you'll get intel on them. Infowars.com on the back. They'll probably figure it out and try to kill you, but they're commie scum, so screw them. Most areas are running to fans and people, so it's like choose your own adventure wearing an Alex Jones shirt. No reviews yet, but I think it's going to be a bestseller. To help fund our operation, InfoWarsStore.com. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Article 1, Abuse of Power. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. In his conduct of the office of President of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States, and, to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald J. Trump has abused the powers of the presidency in that, using the powers of his high office, President Trump solicited the interference of a foreign government, Ukraine, in the 2020 United States presidential election. He did so through a scheme or course of conduct that included soliciting the government of Ukraine to publicly announce investigations that would benefit his re-election, harm the election prospects of his political opponent, and influence the 2020 United States presidential election to his advantage. President Trump as the broadcast started,
the government of Ukraine to take these steps.
They had the vote 2 minutes ago completed to initiate the official impeachment. Now they're reading the charges
announcement of the investigation
into the record.
President Trump engaged in this scheme or
and
course of conduct.
They're going to vote. The jury, that's the House, is going to vote on these charges.
In so doing, President Trump used the powers of the presidency in a manner that compromised the national security of the United States and undermined the integrity of the United States democratic process. He thus ignored and injured the interests of the nation.
It's a grand jury voting on indictment, basically.
For a course of conduct through the following means. 1. President Trump, acting both directly and through his agents within and outside the United States government, corruptly solicited the government of Ukraine to publicly announce investigations into A, political opponent, former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., and B, a discredited theory promoted by Russia, alleging that Ukraine, rather than Russia, interfered in the 2016 United States presidential election. 2, with the same corrupt motives, President Trump, acting both directly and through his agents within and outside the United States government, conditioned 2 official acts on the public announcements that he had requested. A, the release of $391 million of United States taxpayer funds.
This has only happened a few other times in history. Just count on one hand.
For the purpose of providing vital military and security assistance to Ukraine to oppose Russian aggression, and which President Trump had ordered suspended. And B, a head of state meeting at the White House, which the president of Ukraine sought to demonstrate continued United States support for the government of Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression.
Remember a few months ago?
Faced with the public revelation,
folks said this can never happen.
President Trump ultimately released the military and security assistance to the government of Ukraine.
This is treason.
Persisted in openly and corruptly urging and soliciting Ukraine.
As Professor Turley said, what they're doing is the crime.
Benefit. These actions were consistent with President Trump's
investigation of the House has been a sham.
interference in United States elections. In all of this, President Trump abused the powers of the presidency by ignoring and injuring national
yes, it's going to blow up in their face.
Other vital national
But
interests.
it shows what bold criminals they are and how they need to be stopped.
He has also betrayed the nation by abusing his high office to
Because if Trump and America makes it out of this
democratic elections.
without civil unrest that they're pushing for to tear the nation apart, what are they going to pull next?
National security and the Constitution.
They keep escalating the level.
And has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. President Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office,
total projection,
qualification to hold and enjoy any
everything the Democrats are saying
profit under the United States.
Is what they've done.
Article 2, obstruction of Congress.
And that's the clerk reading, and it's not him, but those that wrote it, Pelosi,
have the sole
Schiff.
power of impeachment, and that the president shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes.
So it's here, folks.
In his conduct of the office of
They
President of the United
voted
States.
just 5 minutes ago,
literally, oath, faithfully to execute the office of President
have the vote
of the
today.
United States.
And they've got the votes.
To the best of his
So
ability,
it's on this Wednesday, December 18th, 2019, global transmission. And we're going to have live coverage of this as America fights back against the globalists that have hijacked our nation. How dare them claim Trump is against America? They had us as number 1 on Android, number 3 on Apple. We went back to get screenshots because our numbers showed us number 1, and we're gone.
How did you decide to ban Alex Jones?
What users want from us, and what we've always provided them, is a curated content. If you're going to curate, that's the deal.
Let me tell Tim Cook something. We're watching you, what you're doing.
InfoWars is steps ahead of the globalists and their censorship agenda.
Getting ready to launch the next few months new apps. Now it's easier than ever to have band.video on your iPhone. Simply go to band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. You will now have band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below. Be sure and share band.video. As we speak, on this Wednesday, December 18th, 2019, just a week before Christmas, the Democratic Party just voted to officially begin the impeachment process in the House and vote let it rescind the indictment to the Senate. And they've got a lot of evil garbage and skullduggery up their sleeves. Let's go back to the clerk of the House reading the charge against the president, the charges of obstructing Congress and abuse of power, and then they will vote as a grand jury on the indictment. They will pass it this afternoon, I believe. They have the votes. They say they do, and it will go to the Senate.
Into his own conduct, as well as the unilateral prerogative to deny any and all information to the House of Representatives and the exercise of its sole power of impeachment. In the history of the Republic, no president has ever ordered the complete defiance of an impeachment inquiry or sought to obstruct and impede so comprehensive of the House of Representatives to investigate high crimes and
all of this is lies.
This abuse of office served to cover up the president's own repeated mistakes.
When they were having kangaroo secret intelligence committee hearings in the basement that no one could be part of, Trump said, we're not part of this. We're not even invited.
In all of this,
that's obstructing Congress.
In a manner contrary to his trust as president.
You walk into an Australian court, there's no humans, there's kangaroos.
Prejudice of the cause of law and justice.
And that's what this is.
To the manifest injury of the people of the United States.
Wherefore, President Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. President Trump thus warrants
And again, they're trying to overthrow the Bill of Rights and Constitution. They're trying to overthrow our election
to hold and
stop him getting reelected next year.
Profit under the United States.
He's done. That's 320 days out.
Pursuant to House Resolution 767, the amendment in the nature of a substitute recommended by the Committee on Judiciary is adopted. The resolution shall be debatable for 6 hours, equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking member of the Committee on the Judiciary or their respective designees. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, and the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Collins, each will control 3 hours. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and insert extraneous material on HRES 755.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 1 minute to the distinguished Speaker of the House.
Gentlelady, distinguished speakers recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding for
his
leadership in helping us honor the Constitution of the United States. I also extend my gratitude to Chairman Schiff, who will be
American flag.
Deciding later.
She loves America.
My colleagues, this morning and every morning, when we come together,
it's all about us.
Rise and pledge
trying to get our government back, and the government's been hijacked.
And
the globalists are the ones trying to destroy the country, telling us our president is totally for the country.
Officials and
he may make mistakes, but damn it, he is the president and he cares about the country. He's trying to get control of our country back from these scumbags. And then they're up there saying that he's against America and that we're against it. You're a damn lying witch, Pelosi. Damn you to hell.
To the republic for which it stands.
Oh, my God.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, now she's pledging allegiance.
For which it stands is what we are here to talk
America's
about.
Not buying this.
A republic.
This is a sham.
You can keep it. We gather today under the dome of this temple of democracy.
It's a republic if you can keep it. They're the ones getting rid of the country.
The impeachment of the President of the United States.
No borders, no walls, no USA at all.
Politics comes to Congress to
MS-13 are God's children.
As our first act,
America was never great, never be that great.
Stood on this historic House floor before our beautiful American flag and raised our hands in this sacred oath.
3/4 of Americans say they hate Nancy Pelosi, even in their skewed polls. That's out in a new poll.
States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help me God. For 230 years, members have taken that sacred oath, which makes us custodians of the Constitution.
By the way, they're taking God out of everything. They're attacking Christmas. It's all over the news. The left attacked the Supreme Court justice for saying Merry Christmas. They said, look at how he used that hate word. Now they want to ban that word. That's mainstream news today.
Starting with the sacred words, we the people.
Antifa just attacked the big nativity scene in Europe.
To defend democracy for the people.
Oh, for the people.
But very sadly now, our founders' vision of a republic is under threat from actions from the White House.
Oh, the republic is under threat from Trump. Oh.
Speaker of the House, I solemnly and sadly open the debate on the impeachment of the President of the United States.
And again, if you're a radio listener, she has a big American flag poster up.
It is tragic.
And it says, to the republic for which it stands, when everything they're doing is about destroying the republic.
No choice. What we are discussing today is the established fact that the president violated the Constitution. It is a matter of fact that the president is an ongoing threat to our national security and the integrity of our elections.
What did Senator Blumenthal and all the rest of them say? He said, for America to survive, Alex Jones must be taken off the air. Senator Wyden said the same thing. Senator Murphy said the same thing. I must be taken off to save America. Yeah, right.
Though a sad one, I submit these documents for the record and commend them for students to study.
Save America. Trump must be removed.
What we are discussing today is the established fact that the president, again, violated the Constitution.
By the way, okay, that's enough for now. We'll come back tomorrow. And the Republican response, we'll have a lot of this today throughout the next 3 or 4 hours while these debates are happening. But you're seeing history unfold right now. So they've had a lot of talking points. Quid pro quo, then it's no one's above the law. Now it's established fact. Established fact. Established fact that he worked against American interests and that he obstructed Congress and that he abused his power. Established fact. Established fact. Polly want a cracker? Polly want a cracker? Polly want a cracker? You're going to hear that so many times it's going to make you want to jump off a cliff. There's so much other insane news. I mean, the left is saying arrest people that say Eskimo, fire people that say nerd or geek. I mean, and they're doing it. It's a reign of terror by these people. And they're trying to shut us down because they know InfoWars is a zip and spirit. But listen, folks, here's the exciting thing. You are spreading the word, and people are looking for the truth more than ever. So they have turned InfoWars into what it's always really been, the voice of America, a Paul Revere outfit raising the alarm, and they've really let people know, hey, I'm not supposed to listen to that. So in ways, InfoWars is more influential than ever, but we don't reach new people without you spreading the word, and we don't get to reach those people to keep our operations going without you buying products. And listen, now is the time to do Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. I know a lot of you probably procrastinated. Well, no need to go fight the big lines or the traffic. Go to InfoWarsStore.com. And here's a shot for TV viewers. This is from UPS. It's similar with USPS. This is everywhere in the U.S. as of this morning. 1-day delivery. Basically half the United States. 2-day delivery. Almost all the other areas. 3-day delivery to Alaska and Hawaii. You order today, you get it in 3 days. You order by Friday, you get it well before Christmas. InfoWarsStore.com. And you can deliver it to whoever you want as gifts. And in the comments section when you check out, just write them a letter, write them a note, or send them an email and say, hey, a package is coming. And it's got 5 to 15 bumper stickers in each order, depending on how big it is. Got some little booklets and things. And it's all the great products, books, films, water filter, air filtration, the best systems, non-GMO heirloom seeds, the great supplements. Give somebody some Brain Force, some Turbo Force, some protein bars. You've got the 7. What's the most important part, let's say in a bulldozer running over the Globalist? The treads, the wheels, the engine, the scoop on the front. It's all very important, but the fuel is paramount. And that's my allegory. Turbo Force is vitamins, minerals, amino acids that synergistically work with 6 different natural forms of healthy, clean energy that last for 10 hours in the average metabolic system metabolism of a human. Some people get 15 hours out of it. Some people get about 8 hours. But people take this. People are taking sports. People cannot believe it's the best they've ever had because it's not. Nobody puts as much product into their pre-workouts and their post-workouts. You can call it whatever you want. It's a total solution all around, the best you're going to find. Turbo Force. Without you, we don't roll. With you, we surge forward together. It's like a bulldozer without the diesel fuel. If we don't have your financial support, we will be defeated. You support us and get products you already need that literally fuel your body and your mind. It's a win-win. 360 together. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. Sam in Texas, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
There are new levels of wokeness when someone comes into the info war, and the higher ones are getting back to God, studying the faith, looking again into the Bible. You know, all these glitterbug preachers, everybody's figured out that their purpose to steal their money, but there's a social plan that goes along with that too, and that is to ruin and scald people so that once they're burned, they give up on community, they give up especially on financial partnership and on giving.
And you're absolutely right. The whole modern church is about turning people away from God. Absolutely.
That's a fact. And I just encourage people to reach out. If you're one of these people that doesn't fellowship and maybe once was around a fellowship and you were a giver and then you just saw that the whole thing was a shill, I would say God's economy is giving. Make some new friends. If you don't want to join a Bible study, start your own. You know, we've got it.
Oh, that's a great point. If you don't want to be with all these cliques and weirdos, start it yourself. And here's what's even more important. There's a major revival happening right now, and it's not from people that are like Pharisees who just want power and control. People are having a relationship with God. God. And people see the evil. I know a lot of atheists and people that are becoming real Christians and saying, I don't want to be with the devil. I don't want to be with the pedophiles. I don't want to be with the... People know that Satan's real and evil. They're running, trying to find God. Well, like Christ said, they're not going to find it in that synagogue of Satan when he was praying at that church run by corrupt Pharisees. That's in the Bible. He said, you're going to find it with a personal relationship. The kingdom of heaven is within you. When you make that contact with God, then you find your brothers and sisters. And that's why he went to the tax collectors and the prostitutes, everybody. Not that he was endorsing tax collectors and prostitutes. They were the most hated groups. But he was going to them to find people that weren't trying to take control of the church of that day. Does that make sense?
100%. And we can look at these books, look at these stories, and see how God delivered, how his prophets and how his lying warriors prevailed against their enemies. So we want to talk about dealing with the deep state. The typology is in the Bible again and again and again and again. But the point I want to leave the listeners with is if you're not giving financially, you're not part of the solution that God wants you to be. And you know, you don't have to give to Alex Jones. I encourage that, and I do. You can reach out to them and be a partner and be a friend, and we can rebuild society before the doo-doo hits the fan.
Sam, beautifully said. God bless you. I got to jump in. Let me just say this. Just do your Christmas shopping with us, folks, and support our role-playing manifestations and thank them as well. And absolutely start your own shows. Go to city council and speak. Go to Congress and speak. Just get out there. Be leaders. Don't count on us to do it all. But the biggest way you can fund and know you're kicking ass on the front lines, money is temporarily in this world the number one thing that when you do it, you cannot put it anywhere like a craps table on a number that's going to come through their hardcore. It's just dynamite, and they can't stand it. We've got dynamite and lightning bottled, folks. We've got you. We've got each other. We've got God.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.
The date is December 18th, 2019. On this Wednesday, the House of Representatives, controlled by Democrats, publicly committed to destruction the very existence of the United States of America, just initiated debate on the impeachment for the third time in history of a president. That president is Donald John Trump. His only crime is loving his country and fighting against all odds to lead a populist movement against the tyrants and to restore the republic. This is not fantasy. This is really happening in the Twilight Zone. Let's go to Congressman Representative Doug Collins responding to Nancy Pelosi.
Leave it to the voters. I will tell you right now, Madam Speaker, we on the Republican side have no problem taking our case to the majority and to the people of this country because they elected Donald Trump. And it is a matter for the voters, not this House, not in this way, not in the way this is being done. It has trampled everything this House believes in. I said it yesterday, and I believe it to be this true today. I will fight this on process, which has been deplorable, to use a word of the majority. It has been awful. The calendar and the clock make it impressive that we actually do it quickly. We don't care about rules. We don't care about minority hearing days. We don't care about giving the opportunity for witnesses to be called because the chairman gets to determine what is relevant. Wow, that's pretty good. Let the accuser determine what is relevant to the one being accused. The people of America see through this. The people of America understand due process, and they understand when it is being trampled in the people's house. You see, it's also not a matter of process, which will be discussed today. It's a matter of actual facts. I will fight the facts all day long. Because what we found here today is a president who did not do as being charged. In fact, they had to go to abuse of power, this amorphous term that you're going to hear many, many arguments about how that abuse of power, except for one thing. The call itself, the two parties say no pressure. Nothing was ever done to get the money. In fact, they didn't even know the money was held. But there is something that very much bothers me about the facts. There were 5 meetings. We'll hear about those today, in which there was never a linkage made. There was one witness that is depended on over 600 times in the majority's report that in the end, after question, had to say, well, that was my presumption of what was happening. You see, this is an impeachment based on presumption. This is an impeachment, basically also a poll-tested impeachment on what actually sells to the American people. Today is going to be a lot of things. What it is not is fair. What it is not is about the truth. What is true today, and I just heard it just a moment ago in the articles themselves where it said, and the speaker, I believe, actually talked about this as well, is that the president weakened a foreign leader. You know what the truth of the matter is? That's really the most interesting and deplorable thing that I've heard over the last few weeks is the actual attack by the majority on President Zelensky. Because they realize their whole crux of their case is that if he was not pressured, their house of cards falls. And by the way, it's already failed. But if we can't show pressure, then we either have to call him a liar, a world leader, or we have to make up names to call him. And that's exactly what happened in the Judiciary Committee when a member of the majority actually said he's acting or they're complaining to a battered wife. That is below the dignity of this body. To take a world leader and when he doesn't make your case for you, to belittle him. Especially, as is going to be often said by the majority, that they're in the middle of a hot war with Russia. You see, President Trump actually did give them offensive weapons. President Trump did nothing wrong. We're going to talk about that all day long today. We went on process and we went on facts. Why? Because the American people will see through this. But before I close this first part, I will have to recognize that even the Senate, the minority leader in the Senate, recognizes that the House did not do their job because he can't make the case to his own members, so he's having to ask for witnesses, ask for more time. You see, and even yesterday, it was sort of funny. I thought it hilarious. The minority leader in the Senate went out and did a press conference and said, they denied my witnesses. They denied my request. Well, welcome to the club, Mr. Schumer. That's exactly what's happened over here for the last 3 months. So today, we're going to talk a lot about impeachment. We're going to talk a lot about our president, and we're going to talk about 2 articles of impeachment. Abuse of power, because they can't actually pin anything of factual basis on him. The president did nothing wrong in this issue. And then they're going to talk about obstruction of Congress. You know, obstruction of Congress, as I've said before, is like petulant children saying we didn't get our way when we didn't ask the right way and we didn't actually go after it and try to make a case. You know why, Madam Speaker? The clock and the calendar are terrible masters. And the majority will own that problem today because to the clock and the calendar, facts don't.
All right, this is live coverage of the historic impeachment of President Trump. You know they're going to pass it this afternoon. They already have the votes. We're going to be going back and forth, showing mainly what the Republicans have to say, because the Democrats just repeat the same garbage over and over again. But we'll show some of what the Democrats have to say. But what we're really going to do is take your phone calls, because they want outfits like this silenced, because they don't want you having a voice. Well, you have a voice. And it's a voice you amplify when you spread the word about it, and when you pray for it, when you support it. I want to take your calls on this historic event and where you think it's going and what they're going to pull in the Senate. Did you just hear them? It's true. Now they want more time in the Senate because they don't want to pull back impeachment, but they want to drag it out longer, hoping something pops up. Well, they know that they're going to pop up. More allegations against the president that won't be inside the Senate trial, but will, they believe, add weight to that he's a villain. Get ready. We're not out of the woods yet. The toll-free number to join us is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539, 877-789-2539. On impeachment, we're taking your phone calls on this Wednesday edition. Now, I want to show TV viewers this map, and I want to talk about it for radio listeners. This is a map that shows what's happening with UPS, very similar to USPS. And most of the country is one-day delivery, as you can see. Some parts of the country are two-day delivery, but all the country, from Alaska to the great state of Hawaii, is 3-day. That's today. So that means you order today, you get it Saturday in Hawaii. If you order by Friday, you'll still get it before Christmas. So do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. Help fund the operation, and you can send gifts from the shopping cart as well. Just put the note there at checkout, a note to your friends or family, and then you're funding the InfoWar, not fighting traffic and not funding the globalists. And we've got some of the best deals ever with double Patriot points, store-wide free shipping, and the 12 days of Christmas going right now. I guess we're to like the 9th day of Christmas, because it only counts up until Friday to guarantee delivery before Christmas. And right now, 60% off the Great Nootropic. Mineral Stamina is what I call it. Rainforest Plus, 30% off. Super Blue Fluoride-free toothpaste, fortified with colloidal silver, iodine, and tea tree. You get a combo, 2 tubes, it's 50% off, 60% off, Knockout, 60% off, Bodies, Ultimate Turmeric Formula, 60% off, Ultra 12, it's amazing. 50% off all of the apparel, 60% off, Turbo Force, 60% off, Ultimate Krill Oil, and there's even more new specials in the next few days, like Alpha Power, Stamina, Libido, Energy, even stronger for Remote Vitality. Some likes Remote Vitality better. It's apples and oranges. It's 60% off. InfoWarsStore.com. The krill oil, all of it. This is how we fund the operation. But these are great products that you really should try, like Turbo Force. Try the Turbo Force. We'll be right back with this historic event, your phone calls, and more. Stay with us. Separately, it's the 12 days of Christmas. The sales just compound each other. So every new thing that goes on sale continues until Christmas. You're guaranteed delivery before Christmas if you order in the United States by December 20th. That's this Friday. But I need you to do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. And I had a fellow walk up to me on the street and say, hey, I got my dad that really nice Damascus steel Bowie knife you're selling. That's a really good deal. And I went, the Damascus Bowie knife, because I told Tim Frichet and the guys that source stuff, get good deals and high quality things. And so I said, we're selling a Damascus steel Bowie knife. He goes, yeah, we bought like 300 of them. There's 200 left. So we'll get you one. Well, this is a really nice Bowie knife, and it's camel bone, and you got to go read about it. There's only 200 of these left, 200 and something, and it helps fund an operation. You're not going to find a knife like this in stores for that price. These are like $150, $200 knives, $99.95. It's a great deal. No reviews yet because nobody's put the reviews up, but some have obviously hit the street. And somebody told me they bought one here and liked it, so I said, can I please see this wondrous knife? And guess what? Now my dad's watching right now. This one's mine. My dad likes to skin deer and all that stuff. It's really a nice Bowie knife, not too big, not too little. And it's the Damascus steel, really high quality, very, very sharp. So look out, with a nice leather scabbard. Read all about it. There's a lot more that you'll find out at InfoWarsStore.com about the Bowie knife. And we've got this new t-shirt. Don't visit InfoWars.com. People love this shirt. It's got the woke Alex Jones with laser beam eyes with the They Live sunglasses. Don't visit InfoWars. That way, if you're in a libtard area, you go, yeah, that filthy scumbag. And then you'll get intel on it. InfoWars.com on the back. We'll probably figure it out and try to kill you, but they're commie scum, so screw them. Most areas you'll run into fans and people. So it's like choose your own adventure wearing an Alex Jones shirt. No reviews yet, but I think it's going to be a bestseller. To help fund our operation, InfoWarsStore.com.
The 12 days of Christmas sale at InfoWarsStore.com. Each day, we've been dropping a new big discount on a product. Joining Rainforest Plus at 60% off. Knockout, our all-natural sleep aid, at 60% off. Bod Ease, our all-natural anti-inflammatory product, at 60% off. Ultra 12, our vitamin B12 product, at 60% off. BioTruth Selenium, non-GMO organic selenium, 60% off. And Turbo Force, 60% off. Now we're adding today krill oil, 60% off Ultimate Krill Oil. That joins our other 60% off specials that we've added in previous days. Now, if you haven't tried krill oil, I can tell you this is a premier fish oil. Fish oil has always been understood to be something that is very, very healthy for you. It's something that I've never gotten enough of because I don't like fish. That's just my personal preference. I don't like fish, so I don't eat fish. So I take fish oil supplement, and krill oil is the best that you're going to find out there, especially our Ultimate Krill Oil, a great necessary health item if you don't get enough fish oil. And I want to take extra for this because of the coronary issues that I've had. So I take quite a lot of krill oil, and I can certainly tell the difference in the way I feel. Many items like selenium, you're going to take it, you can do the research, you understand that it's necessary, you want to make sure you got a good source of it, but you're not going to feel anything from it. But there's some things like Rainforest Plus, you're going to feel that, and you're going to feel it with krill oil. So that is now 60% off. It joins our 12 days of Christmas sale. And of course, all of these specials are there with free shipping and double Patriot points. Free shipping, double Patriot points, 60% off many, many items, and we even have 50% off all apparel. So this is something you can even gift to people. Of course, you can always gift them a health product. If somebody's got an issue in their life, they've got inflammation, they're having trouble sleeping because they're using their phones a lot, well, introduce them to some of these products. It's much better than giving them candy, isn't it? Just give them the gift of health. Free shipping, double Patriot points, many, many items at 60% off there at InfoWarsStore.com.
leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Alex Jones. From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
History is happening. Yes, impeachment is backfiring. They've got tricks up their sleeves. The Democrats want to extend the Senate trial. My gut told me they would do that. I said that weeks ago. Trump wants to extend it so he has time to have his witnesses and expose them. But you see, they're going to sneak attack with more women saying they got raped. They're going to sneak attack with claiming N-words were said. None of it's going to be true. I've experienced the same stuff. They have a playbook. And just watch. At first, they wanted to have it done by Christmas. Now, I think it's going to probably go on past Christmas, maybe even to the New Year. What is your take on it? I really respect it. Don't just say that. I'm always blown away by angles that listeners come up with that help me get a better picture. We're having a big, open boardroom discussion here together. We're going to go to your phone calls, 877-789-2539. We've got live coverage going, but just during the break, I was watching Congressman Sensenbrenner, who was making some good points. Here he is.
Bribery or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Unlike the Nixon and Clinton cases, there are no allegations that the president has committed a crime. We've had almost 3 years of nonstop investigations. We've had the Mueller report, we've had the Schiff investigation, we've had the Nadler investigation, and at no time is there any evidence that indicates that Donald J. Trump violated any criminal statute of the United States. So why are we here? We're here because the majority caucus, the Democratic caucus, has been hijacked by the radical left. They have wanted to reverse the course of the 2016 election ever since Donald J. Trump won that election. So let's look at these two phony articles of impeachment. First of all, abuse of power. The phone call in question had the president say, "Our country has been through a lot. I want you to do us a favor. Not me a favor, us a favor." And there he was referring to our country, the United States of America, not a personal political gain. He was not afraid to let this transcript go public, and he released the transcript almost immediately after the call. Now, the second article, impeachment, obstruction of Congress, it basically says that unless the president gives us everything we want and when we want it, then he's committed an impeachable offense. That's a bunch of bunk. The president has certain individual privileges by virtue of his office. Whenever there's been a dispute between the executive and legislative branches heretofore, they've gone to court. And the Supreme Court a couple weeks ago said they would take jurisdiction over deciding whether the president had to comply with one subpoena relating to his tax returns. Now here, the Democrats have been bent to impeach the president of the United States before the court decides this. And this means that there is a rush job to do this. And why is there? Because they want to influence the 2020 elections. And they spent 3 years doing it. They spent millions of taxpayers' dollars, including the Mueller report, putting together this impeachment. And they also have had this Congress wrapped around impeachment and not doing their jobs until the dam broke this week. Stop this charade. Vote no, and I yield back.
Yields back. Gentleman from New York. All right, that was just minutes ago. We've got live coverage of it, but I wanted you to hear what Sensenbrenner said because it was absolutely on target, 100% true. Now, I know the audience knows that, but we've got to look beneath the surface here. Remember 3 months ago, everybody said, Alex, you're wrong. They're never going to bring forward impeachment on the stupid Ukraine thing. Nobody will buy that. It's going to be unpopular because their own focus group showed that, especially going into an election year. And they've already lied about Trump and been caught so many times that anybody with half a brain knew this was not a good idea. So why are they doing it? Because what Sensenbrenner just said. The radical Marxist-Leninist left that literally hates America, that's funded by the big foundations that are tax-exempt offshore robber barons who want to break up nation states and make us dysfunctional, it's all admitted by them, have financed this through colleges. I've got stacks of articles today and from yesterday I didn't get to, where colleges are kicking people out if they're in class and they teach whites are inherently evil. And if you get up and say, that's racist, you're kicked out. People are now offended by regular scientific words. 2 men were fired from a state-funded project in Canada for simply pointing out, oh, here comes some Eskimos. That's what they're called. But the name Eskimo, people were offended because 2 white men who'd worked there for decades who were doing construction work talked about Eskimo in a private conversation. That's why they don't call it the Chinese New Year. The left said 20 years ago, oh, saying Chinese New Year hurts Chinese. They invented the calendar for the Chinese New Year. It's called the Chinese New Year. Like the Gregorian calendar. Comes from what? The Romans? You know, the 10 Commandments is Jewish. It doesn't hurt Jews to say that. They're just making language and normal words offensive so that the people are scared of knowledge. And so these colleges are so dangerous now, and now it's permeating out into the compliance officers and the human resources departments and sensitivity training that is to create chips on the shoulders where America and the West cannot even operate. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch just appeared on Fox and Friends this morning, making a point to parrot the Merry Christmas talking point of the GOP. Is he willing to go on Fox and throw a shout out for Republican narratives? If he is able to, what else is he willing to do? Now, that's not a Twilight Zone joke like in the year 2019. Writers for Playboy would go on a thing called Twitter and say that saying the word Christmas is evil. In Canada, in Australia, in England, in Texas, I see articles all the time where little kids hand out Christmas cards and the school admonishes them and says separation of church and state. Separation of church and state is you don't have the government saying one religion. A child can hand out Harry Potter cards or they can hand out Christian cards, but it's only Christians they're blocking. England's banning Christmas cards in schools, saying it hurts the earth, but all other paper is okay. There is a war on the word mother and father. There is a war on Christ in Christmas. They would always try to deny that. Now they admit that. This is a cult beyond anything we've ever seen. In China and in Russia, under the Soviet Union, they made it the Winter Festival and tried to bring Christmas out of it and used Santa Claus and pushed him in there as well. Santa Claus wasn't popular till the 30s when Coca-Cola popularized the guy in a red suit with the black boots and the big belly. But now they even want that gone because it has some connection to Christ. Oh, and Santa Claus is white. We'll come back, go to your phone calls, cover all of this. It just shows what a dangerous cult. They're a revolutionary group. This is just a warm-up for them. It's about dividing the country even if they fail. And they're going to pull some big tricks during the Senate trial. It's Charles Dickens is probably best known for penning A Christmas Carol, one of the most popular Christmas stories of all time. But he also wrote A Tale of Two Cities that begins with the famous passage, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." And that's really the way to describe where InfoWars is right now. I've said this hundreds of times, and it's been true when I said it 10 years ago, and it's even more true today. InfoWars is in your hands. If people learn about it, it's because of you spreading the word. If we get the financial support to continue on, it's because you've decided to buy products from us or make a straight donation. And it's always been critical. But now it's more critical than ever. I'm not going to read off the whole laundry list of things that have been done to us to try to shut us down. It's been intense. And now, as the final days of 2019 fade away into history, it's so critical that you do your Christmas shopping and year-end shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. We've got really amazing, top-notch products across the board. We've got great Patriot apparel and so much more. But really, folks, it's what we do on air that merits your support, not just the fact that these are great products at great prices. Ladies and gentlemen, I tried to chronicle the huge stories, the game-changing information that InfoWars has put out, myself and the crew, over the years. It would take hours and hours just to list the couple hundred most amazing things we've done. By the grace of God, and all the glory goes to God, we have done amazing things. And just the last few weeks, we have confronted Hillary Clinton and made national headlines at point-blank range exposing her crimes. And we have gone and covered massive Trump rallies in the armored vehicle and taken over the narratives there and exposed the deep state crimes. Owen Schroyer has marched in with a sea change event and confronted Nadler with the truth of his treason. And that has spurred so many other people to go out now and confront Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and all the other globalist candidates. It's really amazing. We are the detonator that in the majority of cases has actually triggered other people to take action in the previous midterm election and elections before that have changed so many races, including getting Donald Trump into the White House. And so the globalists know how important we are as a populist Americana voice. The question is, do you know how important you are in that fight? Because you're not a listener or a viewer of InfoWars. If you spread the word about the broadcast, if you say a prayer for the show, if you share the articles and videos, and if you buy the products, you are the InfoWar. So I'm going to tell you again, we're having our greatest successes ever, even under massive censorship, fake lawsuits, and attacks in the fight against the globalists. So it is the best of times. But we need you now more than ever to realize the fact that you need good protein bars. You need great 10-hour energy turbo force. You need high-quality krill and fish oil. You need water filtration, air filtration, Patriot apparel. We've got it all and more. Books, films, you name it. InfoWarsStore.com. Through the 12 days of Christmas, store on free shipping, double Patriot points, up to 75% off at cost. Please take action. InfoWarsStore.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Here's one of the Democrats from Hawaii, Pamela Jayapal, the same one that says men just need to shut up, men are inherently evil themselves. Here she is calling for Trump's impeachment. They've just voted to initiate the impeachment. It'll be passed by this evening for only, the third or fourth time in history. Here it is.
But if President Trump truly cared about corruption, then he would have listened to the talking points that were prepared by the National Security Council on anti-corruption. He did not. In fact, on those 2 calls with President Zelensky, he never mentioned the word corruption. He did not abide by the Department of Defense's own recommendation that Ukraine had passed all the anti-corruption benchmarks, and he didn't listen to the unanimous conclusion of all of his top advisors that he must release that aid to Ukraine. He did release the aid in 2017.
Let's not listen to any more of this. I mean, can you imagine what America will look like if globalists like this get full control of it? We'll look like every blue city. Needles, homeless, feces, mental illness, children being taught by pedophiles how to get kidnapped and murdered. We're going to take your phone calls on this historic event. We have Ezra Levant of Rebel Media with a lot of big news, riding shotgun with us starting at the bottom of the next hour. There's an interview me for his show. You've got the War Room coming up with Owen Schroyer, knocking it out of the park. He'll have live coverage. This debate's going to go on until this evening. They're talking about 3 hours of debate on both sides, but by the time you've got 6 hours, I would imagine that they're going to be up to about 6 o'clock this evening, Central, maybe 5 or 6 Eastern, maybe 7 Central. So we'll extend War Room coverage tonight right into that fourth hour, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to take your calls right through the balance of the show. We'll continue to have snippets of what's happening. Now, let's go to some live feeds right now as the Republicans are going to another speaker. Here it is.
It is the gravest. At this time, it's my pleasure to yield a minute and a half to the gentlewoman from West Virginia. Ms. Young lady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition of H.R. 755. Today is a disappointing day. It is the day my colleagues...
An absolute political circus, simply because they don't like the man occupying the White House. Many Democrats have been intent on impeaching the president since the day he took office. Their actions are clearly motivated by hatred for President Trump. This impeachment vote today is the next step in their long-held plan to remove him from office. The partisan impeachment investigation run by the House Intelligence Committee was unnecessarily held behind closed doors in a room designed...
Despite the commitment of many of our colleagues to obstruct the Trump administration's agenda at every turn, our country continues to succeed. In this body, however, we have not been able to deliver on what Americans want and need. We still have not finished securing our border. The opioid epidemic still rages in our communities. Our infrastructure is still in dire need of an overhaul, and we still have not reached a bipartisan resolution on drug pricing. If Congress hadn't spent the last year stuck in a divisive, ugly, partisan impeachment debacle, think of what we could have done. The lives that could have been saved, the communities that could have been improved, the crisis on our southern border ended, and the positive work that we should do for our country. But we didn't, all because of divisive political theatrics. Congress can do better than this, and America deserves better. I yield back my time.
The gentlelady yields back, and the gentleman from Georgia reserves. The gentleman from New York.
Mr. Speaker, I now yield 2 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Cicilline.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the articles of impeachment against Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States. Mr. Speaker, no one runs for Congress to impeach a president, but this president has left us no choice. President Trump abused the enormous powers of his office when he solicited foreign interference for the purpose of helping him in his re-election campaign in 2020. The president betrayed our national security and undermined the security of our elections when he put his own personal political interests ahead of the interests of our country. He tried to cheat to win re-election. And this wasn't an attack on Vice President Biden. This was an attack on our democracy. And if we do not hold the president accountable today, we will no longer live in a democracy. We will live in a dictatorship where any future president will be free to abuse their office in order to get reelected.
Ladies and gentlemen, what globalism is private interest getting control through the bureaucracies. controlling the politicians and then selling out the people's interest to multinational corporations. That's what they stand for. And the idea that the president's becoming a dictator because the president of another country brought up Joe Biden bragging how he said, you fire that prosecutor investigating my son, or I'm going to hold $1 billion up. I said, you got 6 hours. And he did what I told him to do. I mean, should I play that clip again? I don't think anybody needs me to play that clip again. But maybe we should, because you see Twitter and Facebook and YouTube try to block videos of Joe Biden and of Trump ads showing that, and they call them deceptive. Just like when Jim Acosta grabbed the microphone back and shoved the young lady in the White House, they said that we doctored the tape for zooming in on it so you could see it closer. That's not doctoring, as the president said. So again, a total wall of lies. What is this distracting us from, though, while we're watching this? Well, it's not talking about the corruption of the Democrats, is it? And if the American people don't come out in giant numbers and get control of the House again, and if the Republicans lay there like they did before when they had the House and the Senate and do nothing in the first 2 years, then God help us. Because these people are revolutionaries. They're trying to overthrow our country. They're trying to destroy our republic. They're going for broke. We're not the ones that escalated to this point. Let's see a representative from Alabama, Mike Rogers, is talking about.
On this hoax and put our nation first. That's exactly what President Trump is doing. The United States has record low unemployment, historic performance in the stock market. President Trump is rewriting failed trade deals of the past to put America first. He's rebuilding our military. He helped create the Space Force, and the list goes on. I implore my colleagues to end this spectacle now. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman reserves. Gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler.
Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing a lot from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, except a defense of President Trump's conduct, which is indefensible. I now yield 2 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Florida, Mr. Deutsch.
The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Some say this impeachment is about 8 lines in a call transcript.
This
but
guy
there's so much
one of the
more.
biggest liars I've ever seen.
It's about a scheme that lasted months and involved...
He says that I say nobody died.
Look at the evidence.
In Parkland, Florida. I never said that.
Text messages, emails, calls, and meetings way back in May. The president told
That's enough. I can't listen anymore of it. We're going to go to your phone calls, and right when we come back, Jack, William, Matt, Caleb, Levi, Danny, Justin, Javon, Gina, James, bam, 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 bam. I am getting better about taking calls. I really appreciate you all calling in. And so now we're going to take hour after hour after hour of phone calls today. Mike Adams will be hosting the 4th hour, as I told you. The War Room with Owen Schroyer is going to extend out tonight with Savannah Hernandez and others doing a great job co-hosting. And we've got all the footage of Owen going down to 2 different impeach Trump rallies in Austin, and incredible footage of Savannah being attacked by leftists physically, Owen being attacked, bottles being thrown at them. It's getting insane. It's getting absolutely, totally, and completely out of control. But that's because these people have been taught in the universities that they have a right to rule, and that America sucks, that they're the saviors that are going to redistribute everything and save us. We're going to go to break. Please don't forget that InfoWars is strong. We're reaching people. We're doing great things thanks to your help, but the department we're not as strong in is financials. I want to expand in 2020. So I'm doing things like spending my meager savings to make sure we can do it, because I've got to go all in. I can't sit there and watch these people continue to do this, but it makes it so much easier if you just do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. 12 days of Christmas right now. Store-wide free shipping, double pay 3 points, massive specials up to 75% off on apparel, on books, on films. Check it all out. Here's part of what happened in San Antonio this weekend. The video's on InfoWars.com. Here it is.
We can't let this happen. This election is about the soul
of our nation. Donald Trump has poisoned our soul. He fans the flames of hate. Hate groups, the white supremacists here at home. Coming down the escalator when they announced he was going to before he hit the ground floor. Remember what he said? He said, I'm going to take down those rapist Mexicans. And he claimed, no, there's never been a president.
That's a lie, Joe.
Never been a president.
That's a lie.
Oh, it is a lie.
Yeah. And it was your son in the Ukraine.
We're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. That's what I'm telling you. You're not getting the $1 billion.
You're the one that offered to withhold $1 billion. The cancel of foreign relations.
I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. I think it was about 6 hours. I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. You got fired.
Son of a bitch, he got fired, right, Joe? Son of a bitch, he got fired, right? Remember that?
Oh, son of a bitch. You got fired.
Trump is innocent. Trump is innocent. Infowars.com. Infowars.
Just total victory, man. Just total victory. It's like watching a slam dunk of truth. Boom! That's Michael Jordan. Yeah.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Infowars.com is tomorrow's news. Today, you're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
We are back live coverage of this historic impeachment. You can count on one hand how many times this has happened. They've got the votes. Why are they doing it? Why is it hurting them in the polls? Why don't they care? We're taking your calls on that right now. And by 5, 6, or 7 tonight, we're not sure. It depends on how they take breaks. We'll be covering it live at Infowars.com and Band.video. They will vote on impeachment that will then go to the Senate. We'll have live historic coverage here. And please, so your friends, your family, your neighbors, people that you don't know, get a chance to see a different perspective than what the corporate media is putting out. Please send the live feed of the show. It's at Band.video and on the front page of Infowars.com out to everybody you know so they can get the real coverage of this. That's how we reach new people. Thank you so much. The stations that want to pick us up, we will again also have continual coverage of this evening as well on the radio and TV satellites. All right, let's go ahead and talk to Matt in California. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Alex, what's up, man? I want to start by wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. Regardless of all of the satanic crap we have to deal with, we still have that in our hearts. And I want to say that what the Democrats are doing is very reptilian. They first lie, and then they shapeshift. Right now, they're in the shape-shifting phase. They're now saying, we care about the Constitution. We're doing this for America. We care about our children. And it's funny, they've never, ever mentioned anything about this in the past.
Well, actually, they do say something. They viciously attack America, attack family, attack capitalism for the average person, make themselves all tax exempt while attacking anybody that's middle class. But you're right. They hate America. They hate the family. But now they suddenly love it. That's extremely transparent. Do they not know how ridiculous this looks?
Yeah, I mean, I created a hat. It's a MAGA hat. It just says, I know you are, but what am I on it? So anytime a leftist comes up and they see your hat and they're about to just say, you're a racist. I'll be like, yeah.
I know you are, but what am I?
It just blows their minds up.
God bless you, sir. I appreciate your call, Matt. We're going to move quick here. Let's talk to
William in Michigan, then Jack in Georgia. William, welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call. First off, I start my day off with your Super Blue. Then I go into the Bio-True Selenium, the Krill Oil X2, X3. Your new Vaso Beats is phenomenal. Living Defense. Ultra 12 and Honor Roll for my kids. I hope you get that back in soon. I just wanted to go over the states. Right now, if you look at the battle lines being drawn, you have the right to carry, the Second Amendment, open carry, and the heartbeat bill, where if you're an infant, and you're in your mom's womb, and you have a heartbeat, you can't kill the baby. Sorry. And then you have the other states that have drawn their battle line saying, okay, we're going to take all your guns. Look at Governor Northam and Virginia, what he's doing up there. We're going to take all your guns, and you can have abortion after the baby's dead. Make them comfortable, right? But also, if you bring in quantum computing, the breakthroughs that they've had in that into it, and you bring in the interest rates throughout the globe, 0 to negative interest rates. You look at China, they're going to be pushing into Hong Kong, they're already there, and they're going to push Taiwan, I think, after the election, regardless who wins. And if you look at the Temple of Solomon, there's all sorts of facts that are coming out that it was originally in the city of David, and it was on the southeast ridge, and the dimensions all fit. So if they rebuild the temple there and they find out, and okay, that's where it's at. And then you bring into the equation 12 to 13 years away from the exact date that Jesus was killed. I mean, it's kind of living revelations. Everything's kind of coming together, and if we're Babylon, we're going to fall soon. Look what's going on in our country.
Well, look at how the Clintons, and we know they were really behind it, bombed Olympic Park in '96 at the Olympics, then tried to blame Richard Jewell, then tried to blame other people, but they were the ones that did it 200 years after 1776. So you're absolutely right. The devil isn't omnipresent, but he tries to line it up with the things God's done as part of his blasphemy. Thank you, William. Jack, we'll talk to you in 60 seconds. Stay with us.
The best product, I'm not supposed to be biased, but I'm going to tell you all now, if you haven't tried Turbo Force, you need to try it. I've tried Turbo Force with everything. Sometimes, I went a little bit crazy. I put Turbo Force in my coffee. That was a crazy week. I don't remember sleeping, but as far as the products go, Turbo Force is my favorite, and all the InfoWars products are down to taking control of your life, taking control of your health, not relying on other people to do it for you. Nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks, I'm going to give that person over there a better life. I'm going to wake up today, you know what, I'm going to spend my entire day trying to make that guy over there healthier, happier, and richer. I'm going to make sure he gets a Ferrari and a girlfriend. I don't think that happens very often. It's never happened to me. I've never had anyone knock on my door and said, Tate, you're such a good guy. How can I improve your life in every single way? There's only one person who woke up and thought that, and that was me. I woke up and thought, you know what, okay, I want to take control of my life. I want to take control of my health. And that's why you can go to Infowars.com, take control of your health right now and support the resistance. Don't buy into the groupthink. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Turbo Force. Kool-Aid's bad and the Turbo Force is good.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the Info War. The impeachment of President Donald John Trump is live. And we have continued coverage of the ongoing debates that should be concluded right during prime time tonight. Play out, look at the clock. The debate just started less than an hour ago. That should come in about 7 o'clock Eastern. Between 6:30 and 7 o'clock Eastern, we'll have live coverage here right after the War Room tonight with Owen Schroyer, Savannah Hernandez. As soon as I'm done going to my daughter's choir recital, I will be here as well. Mike Adams was going to be hosting the fourth hour, but we have mountain juniper fever here, as it's known. When it comes, it's huge clouds of it. It's not an indigenous plant. And it coats the lungs. People think they have a cold. If I wasn't taking pollen block, literally an InfoWarsLife.com product, this would be 10 times worse for me. So I'm not really feeling discomfort. I just have it coating my larynx, a little bit of the sniffles. But a lot of folks are knocked down by it. You can actually see it coming off the trees. In fact, guys, type into YouTube, cedar trees, pollen, Austin, Texas. You'll see a tree, when it releases, just go poof, and all this orange yellow goes off of it. And it's unbelievable what it does to people. But Owen Schroyer is going to be hosting the fourth hour right through the War Room.
with Savannah Hernandez and live coverage of this. Why is it happening? Because they've held up all this legislation to renegotiate NAFTA and GATT and the World Trade Organization deals, which China and Mexico are hating because they're a lot better deals for us. It changes the subject from all the crimes they've committed, and they believe it further divides the nation. But as a caller said yesterday very astutely, we've reached the apex of division in America. People now see through it. So they've hit as much division as they're going to get with the tactics they've been using. So now people are starting to come together. They've hit the peak. But they still can't stop and save face. So what are they going to do? What are they going to pull? That is the question, because they can't help but exercise the power they've got in the house. Because that's what I've learned about the occult and Satanist and globalist is they're one dimension. And they just can't help but use power, even if it destroys them. But are we going to be pissed about this? Are we going to remember this in 320 days during the election? Are we going to rout these Democrats out and rout all these Republican blue bloods out? Are we going to do it? Jack says he's Air Force vet, DOJ. America needs to fight back. Give us your take on this situation.
Yes, sir. First of all, quick side, brother, I love you and your whole crew, and I've probably done 20 grand with your products in the last couple of years because they've worked.
You're the only reason we're on air, brother, so thank you. Thank you for keeping me in the fight. Thank you.
Sir, happy to help. Absolutely. Unless these folks start going to prison for real crimes, everything you said, Alex, has been 100% on the money. We know they traded secrets. I read the reports when I was in. It's a fact to the Chinese. We know they traded off our yellow cake to the Russians. We know absolutely beyond a doubt they have crimes. So unless this void is met with justice, this is going to explode. The pressure cooker has to be diffused. Has to be. So I'm thinking the real Andy Jackson moment. It's got to happen. Maybe it takes us. Maybe it takes people to push this. Maybe it needs to be popularized, memed, whatever. But we have to have the real Andy Jackson.
You're absolutely right, sir. What do you think is coming next, and how do we counter it?
Well, I agree with your previous assessment. I believe this is a spiritual war, and I believe that it's kind of like, I'm not going to jump off into this too much, but it's like John the Baptist says, as he gains, I diminish. Well, the devil is diminishing, and Christ is gaining. And
sir, I do want you to take time. We've got a guest coming up, but we're going to take calls throughout this, and you're absolutely right. As I've gotten older, I learned how important and real the Bible is. When I was young and ignorant, I couldn't understand it. Now that I've been through a bunch of stuff, now it's all right there emblazoned. And absolutely, that's what's happening is they're diminishing. They're getting stupider. They're falling apart. And then those of us that are with Christ are getting stronger and greater discernment, and they see that and are absolutely going into a rage right now.
Yes, sir. 100%. In fact, there are two. I'm Catholic, and much like Owen, I have the same kind of background. And if you look to both Pope Leo, which inspires the warrior prayer to St. Michael, and Fatima, both of those dovetail precisely into 2017. And that is, I believe, that apex that you were talking about around October of 17. And if you've noticed since then, their cries and screaming of these demons have only increased. I mean, you're on the street with them every day, so it's fascinating to watch them come apart.
And by the way, everybody's seen the videos. They now, at least a third of the Democrats at rallies go, I love Satan, I'm going to kill you. I want babies. I want to hurt babies. I mean, I've got video. Yes. And you're like, you love, yes, and Satan will get you. You're going down, Jones, and we're going to get your family. I mean, it's like The Exorcist.
Not only will Satan not win, but the ultimate humility to Satan is he will be crushed by God's creation. In fact, the Bible speaks to that clearly. His head will be crushed under the heel of the woman, which refers, I believe, to Virgin Mary, and I believe that's exactly what he's saying. So that's the ultimate humiliation for this scumbag, is he's going to be crushed by what he views as inferior creation.
Well, I appreciate your call. Great points. Thank you so much, Chad. I know this. We're living in historical times, and the demons are coming out of people. You're seeing it all over the place, and it's really, the battle lines are becoming clear. Call it whatever you want. I mean, it's crazy. It happens all over the world. It happens historically, and it's happening again. Levi in Texas, thanks for calling. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. I'll make this really quick for you. Yesterday, you asked this question, what are they going to do? And I prayed about it. And two events happened last night that the deep state tipped their hand. Virginia. The reason why they're going after Virginia with the firearms is to declare martial law. Now watch how this unfolds. In the press, in the past 2 weeks, they've been screaming that the Republicans in the Senate have already made up their mind. They've already decided that they're just going to sham the trial. Okay? And last night, the Virginia rep, McEachin, came out and said again that they're going to call in the National Guard and they're going to arrest all the sheriffs and enforce.
No, you're right. In fact, I saw that last night, and I went and looked it up, and the reps are saying, and I meant to start the show with that today. It's actually in there in my office on the desk, and then I got distracted with the impeachment vote. But absolutely, and it's in all the different Soros documents that have come out, they want to trigger a race war or a civil war, and they want to do it with gun confiscation. They own Northam because he got caught in the KKK outfit and saying, kill the babies after they're born, keep them comfortable. And so they are absolutely trying to start a civil war. There it is, ABC News 13. Representative Rep says military enforcement for new gun legislation, National Guard response. I mean, that's ABC News, and we live in this craziness that Alex Jones has been conditioned just to accept the level of tyranny that I didn't start the show with that. In fact, download that newscast. That's what I watched last night. I remember 2 days ago, it's like, there's a rumor they're going to have the National Guard. No, they're in the State House saying, we're going to arrest sheriffs that don't confiscate the guns. We're going to register and take all the semi-autos. And, I mean, yeah, and they know that'll cause a civil war. You are damn right, Levi. Go ahead.
Wait, there's more. Last night, around 10 p.m., Ginsburg talked to CNN, and she made comments about the Republicans deciding. And she said that if a judge made that, they would be removed from the case. Here's what I believe is going to happen. They're going to position Virginia to go into a state of martial law.
Hold on. Don't hang up. I'm not doing a cliffhanger. We have to go to breaks at certain times as the satellites fire for radio and TV stations. Coming right back to you in just a few minutes, Levi. Stay there. And then James, Gina, Lee, Aaron, Caleb, Terry, just everybody, stay with us. Spread the word about the live broadcast. It's all happening. They want the UN to confiscate the guns. That's official.
From councils for the majority and the minority.
Democrats committing treason against this country, and you can kick me out, but he's the one committing crime. You are Jerry Nadler. You're the one committing treason. America's done with this. America's sick of the treason committed by the Democrat Party. We voted for Donald Trump, and they're sick of the treason.
I think that probably Jerry Nadler had more fear today than he ever had in his life. And that's because, not because of anything physical, not because we're going to be violent, but because he saw someone stand up against him. And these people are not used to that. Maybe this starts a wave of citizen activism against this Democrat treason, and that's what it deserves. We can sit here and ask Trump to do stuff all day long, and believe me, I get it. But if we're not going to take action, then can we really blame Trump? If you're not going to take action, can you really blame Trump for anything? I don't know if that's really fair.
Nadler, how do you think the voters are going to look at this?
How? He's not a racist.
He's a newly elected president, and honestly, it's not your responsibility to take somebody that was newly elected out of office. Agree to that.
There's not one county in Oklahoma.
That's a lie, Joe. That's a lie. Yeah. And it was your son in the Ukraine. Trump is innocent. Infowars.com.
it's a Space Force t-shirt, limited edition, whether it's the Nascent Iodine Life-Changing Survival Shield X2, whether it's the bodies for soreness and inflammation after physical activity, or if you just have achy joints, it's all at InfoWarsStore.com, and it literally funds it. I mean, it literally funded my flight here, our rent-a-car. All of it. It's going to fund the car to get to Pennsylvania. And we're building an independent true media organization that the globalists fear, and we're the model of what will bring down the globalists. That's why we're so critical that this is the total commitment, the big fight. It's on. There's no future if we don't defeat these globalists. It's easy to do what we're doing. It's easy to take action because laying down and taking it is the worst thing on earth. Getting on our knees, sucking on globalist boots is impossible. It's your last chance to get the original designer, limited edition, Jeffrey Epstein Christmas sweater. The globalists are so scared of this story continuing to come out. The people learning about the deep state and the international blackmail rings using kidnapped women and children to compromise world leaders. They do not want this story continuing. And this is your last chance to get the limited edition Christmas sweater at InfoWarsStore.com to help spread the word, to have a piece of history, and to fund our operation. So, again, it says Christmas lights are a lot like Epstein, but these things don't hang themselves on the front. On the back, it's got Infowars.com and shows the O in Infowars as a wreath. It's also a noose. The system can't stand it when you promote things at the grassroots level. They can't stand it when you fund independent, pro-America, pro-human media. That's why you've got to take advantage of this shirt and get it today at InfoWarsStore.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
The globalists have only captured the main blue cities on the east and west coast. Once they get control, there's pure election fraud, and the people are literally enslaved. Look at that map in Congress right now. The areas in red are Republican, are populist, love America. The areas in blue are captured globalist zones. Now, Obama had a plan under Strong Cities Initiative of the United Nations to confiscate firearms and to create a civil emergency out of it. Bloomberg has funded the election of hundreds of district attorneys and sheriffs to begin gun confiscation under red flag laws in Democrat-controlled states. It's happening. And now, here's the headline, ABC News. Virginia rep suggests military enforcement for new gun legislation. National Guard responds. He said that 3 days ago. Now more Democrats have joined him. The governor has said, we're going to register your guns, and then we're going to pass a law to take them. And sheriffs that don't go along with it, we're going to come after you. So this is how Civil War started. The last two wars for independence and the Civil War started in Virginia. So history doesn't just rhyme, it repeats. Levi in Texas, recap what you were saying and then lay this out. Because Democrats admit they want to cause a civil war. They want to push us into open confrontation, and they've got control of the system in Virginia now. The courts, the governorship, and, of course, the legislature, and they're making their move. People say, well, it'll cause a war. That's the plan, my dear Watson. Please continue.
Okay. The important thing about Virginia is that it is south of Washington, D.C. There's by declaring martial law in Virginia, it'll shut down Interstate 81, 95, 66, 77, 85, 64, and that will isolate Washington, D.C., with only one interstate coming in from the west, in Maryland, which is Interstate 68, and they don't need to worry about north because all of that is Democrat-controlled territory. Now, they're going to move on this, and like I said, for the past 2 weeks, The press has been running that the Republicans in the Senate are shooting their mouth off, especially Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and others, that they've already made up their mind. They're going to coordinate with the Trump administration. Okay, they're not going to call any witnesses. Okay, it's being painted as a farce trial. They won't allow Schumer to call in, okay, witnesses, claiming that it's not going to become like the House became. This is all being set up to give the Democrats, once the trial is over, Trump will be acquitted in the Senate. But it's a trap. It is a ete brute moment, because the Democrats are then going to run to the Supreme Court. And this is where Ginsburg opened her mouth last night to CNN, and she let the cat out of the bag. They'll run to the Supreme Court, and the insurance policy that Storch and Page were talking about is Chief Justice Roberts, who I believe with all my heart is compromised. He's going to be on the Senate. He's going to be controlling the trial. The Democrats will file a brief with the United States Supreme Court saying that the trial was a sham, that the Republicans already made up their mind before they heard any of the evidence, that it was tainted. And I believe that the Supreme Court will rule that the trial is defunct, it's bad, and that they, by a liberal majority, with the swing vote being Chief Justice Roberts, will remove the President of the United States on legal technicalities. And at the same time they do this, Virginia will declare martial law, shutting down all the interstates, preventing people from amassing on Washington in anger, because they'll be able to control and shut down all routes of travel into Washington, and it will plunge this nation into civil unrest like you haven't believed. I prayed about this last night, and this is what I believe the Lord showed me their plan is. And well,
that's why people's got to go to D.C. now. I've been saying don't wait. Everybody needs to get up there. We've had our crew there. Will Johnson's there. I intend to go back up there. People need to get there and let them know. But I agree with you. When you read all their different documents, they want civil war. They want civil unrest. They want confrontations because they're losing. And that's why they're putting us into this impeachment, hoping, as Senator Paul said on Monday, to trigger civil unrest. Levi, they're going for broke. And I think this is a real scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But the Democrats have taken the guns everywhere else. They're in control. They are priming things in Virginia to start a fight. And I think Beto was a test of that, saying, hell yes, we're coming after your AR-15s. None of that's happened by accident. So I agree, this is something they're wargaming. Exposing it has a good chance of stopping it. You're a smart cookie. What else do you think we can do to make sure this doesn't happen?
Everybody, first and foremost, my brothers and sisters in Christ, need to realize that God doesn't use perfect people. We need to come together in prayer for Trump. Trump needs to open up his eyes and realize that he cannot do this alone. He has got to start. He should be getting rid of people. I want to know why, okay, Brennan still has his security clearance. Trump revoked it, and he still has it. Why aren't those people?
That's right. There's open rebellion. It's why they try to keep the president isolated so he doesn't know what's going on.
No, he needs to not only talk softly, but he needs to carry.
No, I hear you. We're out of time, Levi. We're going to watch this Virginia situation very, very closely as it unfolds. It's really happening. You're absolutely right. This is the Hill. Virginia National Guard responds after Democrat lawmakers suggest maybe needed to enforce gun control measures using the military. Well, they've used the UN everywhere else. All the blue cities, they've taken the guns. They want to try to use the 25th Amendment against the president to remove him. They won't need the votes in the Senate if they create enough of a hysteria. That's their plan. Doesn't mean they're going to succeed, but they're making a run at it. And these people are outrageous criminals. The woman up on the dais right now, Representative Karen Bass in California, she says if this doesn't work, he gets reelected, they're going to try to impeach him again. Doesn't even know what for. Or she said, oh, because he's a Russian agent. You're a globalist agent. You're an anti-American filth. You're a puppet. You're a nobody. Picked because you were scum. Running California into the ground, witch. more of your phone calls right when I come back from break. I'm taking 7 phone calls in a 10-minute segment. I'm going to James, and I'm going to Danny, and I'm going to everybody, according to how long they've been holding. Boom, boom, boom. But that was an important caller. I've been meaning to get into Virginia in more detail. Briefly, 12 days of Christmas. We're in the middle of it right now. Do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. Get your orders in by Friday. Guaranteed deliver before Christmas anywhere in the United States. We have the 12 days of Christmas, store-wide free shipping, double Patriot points, 10% off when you sign up for auto ship, 60% off Brainforce Plus, 25 to 50% off all apparel, 60% off Turbo Force, krill oil, 60% off, Knockout, 60% off, bodies, 60% off, Ultra 12, 60% off. Please, you're shopping with us. We need the funding, plus they're great products. Hi. So what's the most important part, let's say, in a bulldozer running over the bubbles? The treads, the wheels, the engine, the scoop on the front. It's all very important, but the fuel is paramount. And that's my allegory. Turbo Force is vitamins, minerals, amino acids that synergistically work with 6 different natural forms of healthy, clean energy that last for 10 hours in the average metabolic system metabolism of a human. Some people get 15 hours out of it. Some people get about 8 hours. But people take this. People are taking sports. People cannot believe it's the best they've ever had because it's not fine. Nobody puts as much product into their pre-workouts and post-workouts. You can call it whatever you want. It's a total solution all around, the best you're going to find. Turbo Force. Without you, we don't roll. With you, we surge forward together. It's like the bulldozer without the diesel fuel. If we don't have your financial support, we will be defeated. You support us and get products you already need that literally fuel your body and your mind. It's a win-win. 360 together. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. Separately, it's the 12 days of Christmas. The sales just compound each other, so every new thing that goes on sale continues until Christmas. You're guaranteed delivery before Christmas if you order in the United States by December 20th. That's this Friday. But I need you to do your Christmas shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. And I had a fellow walk up to me on the street and say, hey, I got my dad that really nice Damascus steel Bowie knife you're selling. That's a really good deal. And I went with Damascus Bowie knife because I told Tim Frichet and the guys that source stuff, get good deals and high quality things. And so I said, we're selling a Damascus steel Bowie knife. He goes, yeah, we bought like 300 of them. There's 200 left. So we'll get you one. Well, this is a really nice Bowie knife. And it's camel bone. And you got to go read about it. There's only 200 of these left, 200 and something. And help fund an operation. You're not going to find a knife like this in stores for that price. These are like $150, $200 knives, $99.95. It's a great deal. No reviews yet because nobody's put the reviews up. But some have obviously hit the street. And somebody told me they bought one here and liked it. So I said, can I please see this wondrous knife? And guess what? Now my dad's watching right now. This one's mine. My dad likes to skin deer and all that stuff. It's really a nice Bowie knife. Not too big, not too little. And it's Damascus steel, really high quality. Very, very sharp. So look out with a nice leather scabbard. Read all about it. There's a lot more that you'll find out at InfoWarsStore.com about the Bowie knife. And we've got this new t-shirt. Don't visit InfoWars.com. People love this shirt. It's got the woke Alex Jones with laser beam eyes with the They Live sunglasses. Don't visit InfoWars. That way, if you're in a libtard area, you go, yeah, that filthy scumbag. And then you'll get intel on them. Infowars.com on the back. They'll probably figure it out and try to kill you, but they're commie scum, so screw them. Most areas are running the fans and people. So it's like choose your own adventure wearing an Alex Jones shirt. No reviews yet, but I think it's going to be a bestseller. To help fund our operation, InfoWarsStore.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Alex Jones. waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
Epic is overused. And so when it's time to say things are epic, and we're like, oh yeah, right, epic. No, what's going on is epically bad, epically out of control. And the response to it is epic. There's so many videos coming out of globalist politicians being confronted by patriots. In almost every case, they're saying Infowars.com is the battle cry. Just like Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, showing people are awake. It's amazing. We've got our own Owen and Savannah Hernandez being attacked last night. We've got video, InfoWarrior attacked by libs. That's really fascist for crashing L.A. Trump impeachment rally. That footage is coming up. Ezra Levant of the Rebel Media will be in studio with us. There is so much to cover. A lot of it doesn't get on air, and it's just as important. It's at Infowars.com, and it's at Newswars.com. But make no mistake, these are authoritarians. Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court, came out on Fox News, was interviewed and said, Merry Christmas. And the left's going crazy, calling it a hate crime. I'm not joking. These people